Welcome in. It's a Wednesday. You know what that means. It's time now for Supernatural News and Parashare. And boy, do we have a Parashare for you. More on that in a bit. With Supernatural News and Parashare, we need a host and a co-host. And that means we bring in the co-host with the most, the BCB, the big cuddly bear himself. Welcome him back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, how you doing?
I'm doing better. Doing a lot better. Got my voice back. Got all the yucky leaking stuff out.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Don't have the energy back yet, so still trying to find out how to get that. And the deep breaths, trying to get that back.
That's a tough one, my friend. I've had my bouts with the C word. Not what you're thinking, people. Get your minds out of the gutter. But yeah, it's tough. I had my bout so bad that I had to go get the antibodies.
Yeah. I've had it before, but it was nothing. And this time it's
sinking in.
I slept last week, Tuesday and Wednesday aren't even in my brain. I woke up on Thursday and told Mrs. Bruiser I have to do something. She goes, "No, you don't. That was yesterday."
Wow.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Slept right through it, huh?
Oh, yeah. And then just trying to get that energy back. You know what I mean? It's like the mind wants to, but the body can't.
Yeah. And it's depending on the strain, it's tough to get over. And these strains are getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah. And I was reading too, because it's funny. I got cleared from the hip to do whatever I want. I have the hernia. Now I have the restrictions to the hernia. I get cleared to do whatever I want because of the hernia. I get COVID. It's like, come on, I just can't win. And I was reading, they recommend you don't do intense cardio when you're recovering. Yeah. Like even when you're positive or negative for a week or two after, don't do the intense cardio because that's what causes the scarring and stuff in your lungs. So at the gym, I've just been doing some light rowing, and then I'm like, well, I can lift because I haven't been able to lift since the hip.
Yeah.
But there's no energy. So you take the fact that I have no energy, I can't breathe, and I haven't lifted weights since June. My strength was just, yeah. I felt, but to be positive, because you always used to preach to me and everyone else, look at the positive. I was there.
Yep.
I did something.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I listened to my body and left before it became a problem.
There you go. And that's exactly what you have to do. It's just little tiny steps. And with recovering from COVID, it's little tiny steps. The other thing that you have to do is you have to listen to your body as well. And if you think that there's something not quite recovering the way it should, that's when you got to get your butt into the doctor and you got to say, hey, you know what? Take a look at my heart, take a look at my lungs. Is there a little more fluid around the heart than usual? Is it a little more fluid around the lungs than usual? Because myocarditis is a real thing.
Yeah.
When you're recovering.
In fact, I'm seeing my doctor later this week to check my heart.
Good.
Because he said the same thing you said when I went and talked to him, and the positive and all that.
Yep.
So I have to see him this week and next week. And he's doing exactly that. He's checking my heart. He's checking my lungs.
Good. Because it's unfortunately, I was told that through my bouts of COVID and other things that might have. I'm trying to think of what the word is here, but it might have not caused. It didn't cause, but it did push my heart issues further along than they would have been.
Yeah. So because your heart's working overtime because you can't breathe. Yeah.
And so I had the PVC issues since I was young, but they became much, much worse. And I was put into congestive heart failure because of the COVID. So it was kind of a perfect storm that had happened through 2 bouts of COVID and other things. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I have a family history of bad hearts. I have
same here.
My grandfather passed away from a heart attack. My younger cousin was only 35 and passed away in his sleep because of I do believe he got COVID, got over it, didn't feel well. Mm-hmm. Went into the ER. They COVID tested. No, you don't have COVID. You probably just have a flu. Go home and sleep. So he went home and he never woke up. and it's because his heart was under so much strain from battling everything. And then our heart diseases in our family. So once that happened, I get my heart checked out every 3 months, blood work, the whole nine, just because I don't want to leave my kids there. I don't want to leave early.
Yeah. Yep.
And now with this, my doctor's extra cautious, and I'd rather be extra cautious than not cautious at all.
Yep, exactly. And even though I've been cleared from now congestive heart failure, I still take a water pill. I don't let my weight fluctuate more than 4 pounds, and it does fluctuate.
Yeah.
But if it goes any more than 4 pounds over what it's supposed to be, I take my water pill like a aspirin for a headache.
Yeah.
So I keep tight control over my weight now and tight control over my diet because it's what I have to do. So
basically, we're telling listeners to pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
Don't be the 1950s old man where, it'll go away. It'll go away. Just get checked out.
That's right. Yeah.
It's an hour out of your day.
That's right. That's right. There's no reason to have a phobia over the doctor anymore. That's for sure.
Exactly. And with the way medical advancements have been, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I had hip replacement. I was walking that day. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I have a friend who just had total knee repair, total knee replacement. He was walking that day. It's like back in the 80s, 70s, that never happened. No. You're always in the big, long cast.
Yes.
So go get checked out. If you don't feel well, get checked out.
I remember when my grandmother had her knees redone in the 90s. She had one done and then had the other one done. And it was within a year of each other. And the rehab was incredibly painful. I remember watching her go to physical therapy week after week. And the way they did it then was so incredibly painful, so incredibly stressful. And I remember at that time, you couldn't bend over and get on your knees. They didn't recommend it for weeks upon weeks at a time.
Yeah.
You had like a safety zone where you had to get used to the knee before you could do that. And my grandmother, God bless her, would on Saturdays clean the house from stem to stern. And she would get down on her knees and scrub the floor. I mean, this wasn't, you take a mop and mop the floor type deal.
This is grandma clean, because my grandma did the same.
Yep.
Hands and knees, bucket next to her.
And did it well into her late 70s, early 80s.
Same with mine, yep.
Yeah. So it was unconscionable for her to want to do anything but that, even with 2 knee replacements. So,
wow.
Yeah, God love her for wanting to do that, but the way they did knee replacements then was almost impossible for her wanting to do that. But she did it. She did it. That generation, the greatest generation, a lot tougher than a lot of us today. I'll tell you that.
Way tougher than a lot of us.
Yeah.
And this new generation, I'm going to sound like the crotchety old man. But this new generation, man. So many students that I have that have never been in an actual physical fight before.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, not even on the playground? And they're like, no. But you got to think, they're all online. Even in school, it's all online. Everything's online. Everything's iPads. So they argue on social media. They don't argue face to face, and they don't let their temper. That's why a lot of kids nowadays have social anxiety, because they don't know how to interact with people, because it's not a screen.
You know what I do find about this newer generation that I do like, though? They're more in touch with their feelings.
They are. You're absolutely right.
They are. And they, believe it or not, they do know how to problem solve a little bit better. I'm finding
depending on the situation.
I'm finding the ones that I'm running into, they have better problem solving skills, and they tend to be a little nicer. When it comes to things.
I disagree with that. See,
really?
Here's why. Go into a McDonald's.
Sure.
Order a meal so it comes out to $20.01. All right? Mm-hmm. Hand the cashier $21. And when they type in the $21, go, oh, I found a penny. And watch them not know what to do. Because they don't know how to problem solve.
Well, I don't know if that's problem solving.
Because the machine's not telling them what to do.
That's new math. But I'll put it.
What?
I'll put it to you this way, and this is what I mean by nicer and problem solving and things like this. I run into, when I talk about younger generation, I know we're way off the topic of supernatural, paranormal and whatnot, but we're talking about generations and how things progress in life. When I'm talking younger generations, now keep in mind, although I may sound suave and debonair on the air, I get around sometimes on a power cart or an electric, whatever you want to call it, electric scooter, whatever it is. And sometimes I may be getting around on a knee caddy. Sometimes I may be walking with a cane. Okay. Mm-hmm. But every time I do, I find people of my age or a little bit younger aren't so quick to want to open a door or help.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're quick to want to get through a door and get past me.
Wow.
But it's the people of the younger generation who are the first to want to open a door or want to hold a door open for me.
Okay. That I'll agree with you on.
That want to help, that want to be there, that want to assist. Yeah. Or if I'm trying to get my scooter out of my van, they're the first ones to come over and say, do you need some help with something, sir? Or if I'm unloading groceries into my van, they might say, hey, can I help you with that, sir? They're the first ones to come up to want to help, which it shows wanting to look out for your fellow man quicker, faster, wanting to make sure that you're okay. I don't get that from our generation.
Yeah, I guess because our generation, I try to be that guy. I was raised that way.
Oh yeah, I was.
But you're right. Our generation wasn't really raised that way because we were the last of the latchkey kids?
Latchkey
is that
kids.
What we were called?
Yep.
Yeah. But hey, like I hear from people that interact with my kids all the time that they're polite and they do what you just said, which is great because that means I did a great job as a dad. So that means our generation's really good parents.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
That's true.
We may be assholes, but we're good parents.
There you go. But we passed along what we learned from our grandparents, not necessarily our parents, but our grandparents.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's what's important, is that maybe it skipped a generation or two, but at least it landed where it had to land.
Yeah.
So there you go. On today's show, Bruiser, have we got some stories here for you today. And like I said, we've got an opus of a Parashare today. It kind of reminds you of the old theater of the mind.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
It does.
It's got full production value to it. So we'll play it a little bit later in the program. In fact, you know what? We may do it coming out of break.
Okay. Yeah.
How does that sound? But we're going to, of course, deal with the alien deal in the beginning of the program. We're going to hear from David Grusch. There's a huge black hole out there to back up Uranus talk from last week. Boy, we had a Uranus story last week, Bruiser, you would have absolutely loved. But we're going to talk about a huge black hole in space that's changing space and time. It's so huge. That's right. It's sucking up your space and time.
Is it my ex-wife?
Yes. Yes, I think it is. It's your ex-wife. I got to give you one of these. There you go.
Yeah, and I can't say that. She's a nice woman and was a great mother to my older daughter. So
look at you, backpedal, pal. And then we, of course, have a little AI talk for you today. We can't go the distance of the program without that. And we have a few oddities today.
Okay.
A fish with a human face.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I've seen the pictures of the fish with human teeth, and that creeped me out.
Yeah.
That creeped me out.
Yeah, this one's a little creepy. And we'll talk about the blue-skinned people of Kentucky. And we're not talking about the Blue Man Group, but we'll talk about the blue-skinned people of Kentucky. And no, it has nothing to do with Jim Cornette. So I'll give myself one of these. There you go. And we'll talk Ziggy's picks. Interesting week in the world of canines. Yeah, I was
nodded it when I did my picks, but the animals were right on.
The animals were pretty darn good this week, so we'll talk about them as well.
Ziggy's picking it up in the second half.
That's right. Ziggy's making a comeback, so we'll talk about that as well later in the program. Let's start it off with David Grusch, that whistleblower who came forward to the U.S. government, and he claims that the U.S. government is possessing a variety of alien bodies, Bruiser. The ex-U.S. intelligence officer recently talked a bit more about his findings on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. I had a lot of people telling me, Tim, have you listened to this podcast? No, because I think he's pretty much covered that ground. But a lot of people were claiming there was some, not necessarily new stuff on this podcast, but that he was reinforcing that a lot of the stuff that he was saying in front of the Aero meetings.
Okay. So a little more detail.
A little more detail, yeah. Grusch, who previously worked with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and held top-level clearance at the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. You can go ahead and do it, Bruiser.
But no.
There you go. Task Force entered the public eye earlier this year when he made the startling claim that the U.S. government had long been in possession of intact and partially intact vehicles of non-human origin. He later appeared at the subcommittee hearings on UFOs at the U.S. House of Representatives, where, citing extensive interviews with high-level intelligence officials, he maintained that non-human biologics had been found at some of these crash sites and claimed that people had been harmed or injured as a result of government efforts to conceal this information. Now, that's nothing new. He's said that before. Fast forward to the present, and now Grusch has elaborated a little further on his claims while speaking on an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. He told Rogan that the U.S. government was in possession of several different types of alien bodies, but that nobody had definitive knowledge on the precise number of alien entities interacting with the Earth. He also admitted that he had not seen any direct evidence of either the alien bodies or the alien craft himself. Interesting, but again, he didn't come forward with anything specific.
Right. He's being broad in general of information we've already heard before. Because we've heard from a couple people that there's been bodies. And there's been quote unquote leaked footage and leaked video and leaked pictures. So like he's not really breaking news. And he's not really helping move along his story either. Because he doesn't have, he just said, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen those, but they're there.
But broad in general keeps him alive.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. The first thing I'm going to say when you mention his name is like, oh, he's still alive. Good for him.
Yeah, he's still breathing. Broad in general keeps him alive. And it keeps him in the headlines and it keeps him moving. And that's, I think, what his intent is here. He wants to be able to call attention to it. He wants to be able to show up for more of these meetings. If you remember, just a few months ago, they tried to get him into a skiff to kind of flesh out more information of what he had. Unfortunately, someone behind the scenes said, well, you know what? You don't qualify anymore for a top secret clearance.
Right.
Now, whether that's of his own volition or something he's done since he's left government. Now, he hasn't been out of government very long.
He hasn't. Okay.
No, it's been less than 2 years, I think. It's been less than a year or two since he's been out of government. That's not enough time to have done something heinously wrong for you not to qualify for a top secret clearance.
Right. And he left the government on good terms. It wasn't like he was dishonorably discharged.
No.
He left on good terms. He wasn't a whistleblower when he was in there. He waited till he was done.
So obviously somebody doesn't want him to reveal what it is he has.
Now, do you think that adds to his credibility then, since the government did that at last minute? Or I shouldn't say government. I'm not going to say government. Whoever the organizers or whoever behind the scenes did that. Does that add a little bit of credibility, you think, to him because he does?
No, because he may have something of top secret information that has something to do with the military that they don't want out.
Gotcha.
It may not necessarily be of aliens. It may be of some sort of top secret weaponry that they're working on.
Or technology that we reverse engineered from this alien technology that we haven't publicly used yet.
It's some sort of weaponry that they don't want the general public or any of our enemies to know about.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what people got to pay attention to is when these whistleblowers come out. Yes, we the American people want to know, but so do our enemies.
Yep.
Especially like a China who is in a technological race with us. If you think back in the 50s and 60s, the space race with Russia, we're kind of in that with technology right now with China.
Oh, big time.
Who can get out the quicker UAVs or, stealth stuff and whatnot. And if he comes out and whistleblows like, oh, yeah, we have a propulsion system that's based on magnets that we developed from this ET technology, China's going to be real interested in that. And they're going to be like, well, we don't have that. We need that. How do we get that?
China pays now on average between $1 and $2 million to either turn or create a spy within the United States. Did you know that?
I did know that. You're the one that told me that when you told me that they have our borders are covered with Chinese spies and Chinese organizations and just all that.
They either send a Chinese dissident to school here in the United States. They get them schooled in the appropriate field that they want them in, and then they bring them back to China and have them working for them. So what happens is they not only send them to school here, but they get them into an internship to somewhere like Boston Dynamics for robotics, or they get them over to one of the big aircraft companies that has a defense contract. And they get them inside. They get them to learn as much as they can about the defense contract that's going on currently. Then they lure them back with big money to work for the Chinese government and basically replicate that technology.
Okay.
There's a lot of money and time that go into them creating basically a spy for their government to replicate the technology over there.
I laugh because there's a politician here in North Carolina that runs, his platform is China. And he talks about how, and Mrs. Bruiser and I laugh all the time because he doesn't discuss anything going on currently. He just talks about how China tried to buy a factory out here to dispose of toxic waste, and he got it shut down. So he's running for governor, and he's going to let China know that North Carolina isn't for sale. And I giggle. I'm like, wow, this is his, like, no other talking points. Like, his debate's going to be horrible.
I guess so, right?
And so I said what you just said to Mrs. Bruiser about, the all across our border. She's like, no way. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, we covered that one story where they have little substations around the different cities.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a big thing.
And it's not just China anymore. It's China, Iran. It's these different enemies of the United States that are now lined up on our north and south borders that test our borders continually, especially the southern border. It's the southern border that they're testing repeatedly, but China is lined up on our northern border.
Yeah.
And they have these little substations on our northern border. And it's a dangerous thing, folks. It really is.
Do you think if he would release, let's say the government lets him release a little bit of this top secret information, does China protect him or Israel, whoever? Do our enemies protect him to make sure he stays alive so he can continue these whistleblowing?
I don't think anybody protects him.
No, you think he's just fair game?
No. Where do you run and where do you hide? The thing is if, okay, let's say David Grusch comes out and he says, okay, so first of all, it's such a fantastical claim. And the general public, I think, says, okay, if David Grusch comes out and says the U.S. has technology that they've taken from these alien ships and they've used it for weapons and they've been using it, and he comes up with this fantastic claim. Okay. So if he comes out and he says it, the rest of the public is going to say, so we know that. We have iPhones in our hand. Where do we think we got it from?
Right.
I think the public is so accepting of, they come to expect through Hollywood movies and all this other stuff and all the fantastic things we can do. Another fantastic thing isn't going to initially shock them unless an alien appears in a press conference beside our president and says, we gave you this. And then they're going to go, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something that will absolutely blow their mind. And then all of a sudden, you're going to get half the country that's going to absolutely, pardon my French, lose their shit.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then they start questioning theologically what it is that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. Then they start questioning where all this stuff makes sense in the universe. And then you get this rogue wave of people that think it's an affront to God. And that's where you get the uprising within just America here. Not necessarily the world, because you can tie different things in different cultures to whether they came from a different race or not, a different alien race. Mm-hmm. And some cultures may be more accepting than others, but you will eventually have these different world uprisings. That's why I'm saying I don't think David Grusch is safe anywhere.
Right.
So if he says, well, yeah, of course the U.S. got this technology from a different planet, Well, China, I think, is probably more conservative than the U.S. So why would China say, well, yeah, we'll harbor you and we want the secrets as well? I think their country's probably more conservative. They're not going to, they're not going to want that because they think that their military might is probably a little more and they have more people than the U.S.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, there's no place on earth for him to hide.
I agree. I get it. Yep.
Plus, is he even going to get the opportunity?
Oh, yeah. Someone will take him up before he leaves the country.
Yeah. Honestly, I think he's probably going to be whisked away if they ever have to, let's just say, unload all the secrets. If it comes to the point where the government says, you know what, we got to admit this, boys, I think first David Grusch disappears. And then they unleash everything on everybody.
So basically, once a month, he's going to do a major podcast or a major news organization just to essentially wear it as a bulletproof vest.
Yes. And then there will come the smear campaign from the other side.
They will destroy him, yes.
Yeah. And then eventually you'll find him dead somewhere with a needle in his arm.
Yeah. And it'll be ruled a suicide.
Yep. And they'll say, well, he OD'd. We told you all along he was nuts. And we'll all go back to life as we know it.
Yeah. Ignore the man behind the curtain. He's dead now. He killed himself. He's a drug addict.
That's right. And life goes on as we know it. And all this gets swept under the rug yet again. Until
the alien does a press conference.
That's right. With the president at the time and says, hey, are you enjoying your technology? So that's how that
Where's
goes.
our good buddy David?
Yeah. Where's Grusch? We're hoping to hang out and barbecue. Yeah. So that's kind of how that goes. Meanwhile, CIA has a secret office that has retrieved UFOs from 9 crash sites around the world. In this shocking revelation, it has emerged that the CIA themselves has a secret office which has been retrieving aircraft from UFO crash sites for decades. Now, politicians are calling for more transparency. That's right. I said secret office.
Yeah, I was going to say, even the government didn't know about it?
I guess not. At least 9 non-human craft have been collected by the U.S. government in top secret operations, which have only been just revealed. Some of the UFOs collected by the Office of Global Access, or the OGA wing of the CIA, and their science team have been destroyed by a crash, while 2 have remained entirely intact. The OGA has been involved in collecting UFOs for the CIA's Science and Technology Directorate since 2003, and now 3 anonymous sources have revealed information taken directly from the individuals involved in those retrieval missions. It has come as evidence continues to build that the U.S. government could be hiding discoveries of advanced vehicles not produced by humans. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer sponsored a bill to encourage disclosure of all recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence in July. The same month, a former top intelligence officer, again David Grusch, effectively admitted to Congress that the U.S. government was aware of non-human material which had landed on Earth. One of the sources states that the CIA has a system which can discern UFOs while they're still cloaked, and that when the non-human aircraft land, special military units are sent to try to salvage the wreckage. One source added that the OGA sets a facilitator to get the U.S. military secret access to places in the world that it would not usually be able to get to, such as behind enemy lines.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Other sources told DailyMail.com that the OGA is also involved in retrieving nuclear weapons and downed satellites, but their work involves retrieving UFOs. They protect the secrecy of the retrieval, while the retrieval itself is carried out by the military. The OGA will often work in conjunction with special operations forces, such as SEAL teams, to carry out their missions. But retrieved UFOs won't be kept under military control for long because the military is required to keep too many records. That's an interesting statement.
That's a very interesting statement. That's a very powerful statement, too.
Yeah, the craft will usually be moved out to quote-unquote private hands. Interesting. The OGA is listed as one of the CIA's 9 offices in the Science and Technology Wing, and it has 2 director-level officials in the chief and deputy. CIA expert Jeffrey Reichelson wrote that the OGA is designed to integrate analysis technology and tradecraft to attack the most difficult targets and to provide worldwide collection capability. Former OGA Deputy Director Doug Wolf was one of the founders of the OGA, according to a short biography, which also states that he was responsible for leading and managing strategic unwarned access programs that deliver intelligence from the most challenging denied areas. A former SEAL operative said that they had been involved in retrieving high-value enemy weapons and had colleagues who had done the same, but did not confirm whether any of this was believed to be alien technology. Even ordnance or a weapon that we've never seen, we recover and bring back, he said. Interesting.
Isn't the CIA a government organization, or is it privately owned?
It's a government organization. However, they operate outside U.S. territory. So
right.
They, even though they report back to the U.S. government,
they don't have the same rules and standards as like the FBI or Secret Service
no.
the U.S. Army, U.S. Navy. Okay. So that's how they're able to, because what you said was that the government has too much paperwork, essentially. Well, so that means the CIA doesn't have to disclose as much to our government?
No. They still have to report back. However, they're saying that the OGA is a separate...
That's a private...
The OGA is a separate office, and therefore they can pass off... They operate outside... What's a good way of putting this? The OGA operates off of U.S. soil and outside the military. The military has too much paperwork.
Gotcha.
So they don't necessarily have to file the required paperwork with the U.S. government in order to document things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The CIA will hand wreckage to private aerospace contractors to analyze, as they are not subject to government audits. Here's where this comes in.
Okay.
The CIA is the portfolio manager or owner of the UAP, or the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Crash Retrieval Operation, said one source who has already testified to Congress. Some politicians are attempting to follow these leads and using them to call for more transparency regarding discovery and recovery of UFOs and any objects believed to be from out of this world. This includes Missouri Republican Congressman Eric Burleson, part of an informal group calling for transparency. These are the kind of specific programs we've been trying to get names of. I can't confirm it's true, he went on to say, but it certainly gives us a trail to follow. I think that if it does exist, even if they give us no information beyond that, I think we owe it to the world to disclose that, he went on to say. So I think one of the things that, and we may talk about Kennedy a little bit later in the program. I saved a story when you were out for over the Kennedy assassination anniversary to talk a little bit about you. It's about because it's about the conspiracy and the anniversary. One of the reasons people are so convinced the CIA had something to do with the Kennedy assassination is because they operated mainly off of U.S. soil, and they had some. What's the word I'm looking for? They had some, Bruiser, what's the word I'm looking for? They had some, when a diplomat has immunity. They had some immunity off of U.S. soil in order to operate. So when they were operating in Cuba with the Bay of Pigs, and that operation got foobarred, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
When they didn't have the full backing of Kennedy. When Kennedy basically said that he was going to scatter them to the four winds, I think he made an enemy in them.
Yes.
And they didn't like that. And as you can see throughout history, from 1962 and 3 to now, they've built in power, they've built in structure, and they're a much more powerful organization than they ever were. Now, the rumor is that the CIA has become, what's the word I want to use here, Bruiser? They've become almost their own organization.
Okay.
They're not autonomous, but they still work within the U.S. government, but they definitely have their own rank.
They're on the fringe of the U.S. government. They're not. I'm not saying they're on the.
No. They're integrated with the U.S. government, but they have their own slack in which to operate.
Right.
They still take their orders, but they have a lot of play there. There's a lot of play there. So they would never go rogue, at least as far as we know.
We hope not.
But there's a lot of play there in which they can operate.
Which this OGA thing proves.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that, and that's that. So there you go. Let's move on. A huge black hole is spinning so fast that it's distorting space and time.
Again, sounds like my ex-wife.
Aha! The huge black hole at the center of our galaxy is spinning at such an extreme rate that it's literally squishing space and time. This is interesting. Deep at the very heart of the Milky Way lies a behemoth of galactic proportions, known as Sagittarius A, as an a-hole. The gargantuan, or...
Why would they do that? Like,
I don't know.
I bet you they're giggling like, hey, let's name it Sagittarius Ass. We can do that. How much is Sagittarius A? We get it, right?
This gargantuan or supermassive black hole has an almost incomprehensive mass equivalent to 4.1 billion suns and measures 32 million miles in diameter. That's a huge black hole, if you know what I mean.
Big black hole.
That is. Exactly how this enormous black hole came to form, as well as the role that it played in the formation of the galaxy, is not yet fully understood. Now, in a new study, scientists have used data collected by NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory telescope to calculate the speed at which Sagittarius A is spinning. The team discovered that the black hole is spinning so rapidly that it is literally dragging space and time along with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go, you're going with me.
That's right. Sometimes those a-holes will suck you in with it. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I hate when the a-holes suck me in too.
Yeah. If you have a rapidly rotating black hole, the space-time around it is not symmetric. The spinning black hole is dragging all of space-time around with it, lead study author Ruth Daly told CNN. It squishes down the space-time, and it sort of looks like a football. So that's why we talk about football here on the show.
Because of Sagittarius A.
Because of some Sagittarius asshole. Sagittarius asshole.
Sagittarius asshole.
That's right. I'll get it straight. Let's move on. Returning, just as there's some big black hole in space that's squishing our space-time, now SpaceX is creating bright glowing holes in the sky.
Elon Musk is like, I know how to battle black holes. Let's put glowing holes up there.
That's right.
I said glowing, not glory.
Not glory? Glowing. Not glory holes in the sky? Not glory. No?
We don't want glory holes in space.
Elon doesn't.
We might. I don't know.
Well, I hear he's a little lonely since what's-her-name left him. The artificial aurorae, as they're calling it, could be an issue for astronomers and communication systems. These big glowing holes in the sky. Please don't tell us you're seeing alien portals up there, by the way, if you see these.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. In mid-July, viewers hoping to catch a glimpse of a SpaceX rocket launch were stunned to see it followed by a bright aurora-like phenomena over Arizona. The rocket had formed a hole in the upper atmosphere, evinced by a red glow captured by photographers on the ground. The glow itself is nothing new. These types of disturbances in Earth's upper atmosphere have been happening for years. The glows are often spherical and are caused by interactions between rocket exhaust and the ionosphere, an ionized region of the upper atmosphere between 43 miles and 250 miles above Earth's surface. But now most astronomers are saying the events are becoming more frequent. Stephen Hummel, an astronomer and specialist in reducing light pollution at the McDonald Observatory in Texas, used their drive-through, by the way. It's really great.
They were the first ones to bring the McRib back.
That's right, and we love them for it.
We do.
Yeah. Told spaceweather.com that 2 to 5 of the sky glows are seen per month.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of glory holes. Just saying. Choose one.
Now, I wonder how many of those are reported as UFOs or as, unexplained phenomena.
I'm sure quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't do damage to our atmosphere because we already got enough damage up there. Thanks a lot, Aquanet.
Yeah. Thanks, Aquanet. I stopped using it years ago, but thanks, Aquanet. The glows can be visible to the naked eye and remain in the sky for just a few seconds to minutes at a time. When rockets are launched, they can punch holes in the atmosphere. Oh, thanks. Leaving a red glow. But SpaceX Aurorae, that almost sounds dirty.
It does.
Are caused by the rockets, or as the rocket's second stages burn to come back to the surface. The once rare glowing phenomena are becoming more common as rocket launches become more frequent. In 2017, a SpaceX Falcon 9 exhaust plume left a roughly, 560-mile wide hole in the atmosphere.
Wow. That's a big hole. That's bigger than Sagittarius' ass.
A 2018 paper in Space Weather found the hole may have caused slight range errors in GPS systems.
So that's why my GPS is always screwed up.
That's right.
Turn right here. I can't. Turn right here. I can't. Thanks a lot, Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk, which transmit radio waves up to 1 meter, the researchers conclude. The glow's impact on astronomical observations are still unclear. By the way, this is what those glory holes look like in the atmosphere, Bruiser, if you ever see them.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah, you seen those before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Giant red hole. Looks like a giant.
I've seen those too.
Looks like a giant red ass in the middle of the atmosphere.
I've met a few giant red holes in my lifetime.
Hi-yo. Their impact on astronomical science is still being evaluated, Hummel told spaceweather.com. Starlink satellites are a known issue, but the effects of the rocket launches themselves are a growing area of attention. Protecting Earth's skies is becoming busy work in these heady days for space flights. Earlier this year, a team of researchers found that the night sky is becoming increasingly hard to see due to sky glow, which is human light pollution that brightens the night sky. And besides the eerie red glows they cause, various rockets and satellites passing through Earth's stratosphere leave metals in their wake, polluting it, according to a study recently published in the Proceedings of the National Academies of Sciences. SpaceX is also responsible for the Starlink satellite constellation, which is vastly expanding internet access to the globe, albeit at the cost of astronomical observations. But Starlink's next generation satellites are about 10 times fainter than the original satellites, Gizmodo previously reported, suggesting that the company is working to reduce its harmful impacts on astronomy. We'll see how it all shakes out, but no matter the potential effects of the SpaceX Aurora, at least you know now what's causing it.
Yeah. So it's not UFOs, it's SpaceX.
That's right. It's not UFOs, it's SpaceX. So there you go. When we come back, Sam Altman appears to admit the existence of a new secret doomsday AI system that he helped build.
Thanks a lot, dude. He just hates us.
That's right. Also, a robot chemist may be your only solution to get oxygen on Mars. We'll talk about that. Let's see, what else? Oh, a fish with a human face. That's coming up.
Creepy.
I think there was a Billy Idol song about that. Fish with a human face. We've got that coming up. And
then the unique Parashare.
Yes, the unique Parashare is coming up. I think we'll do that after the break. We won't start with AI right away.
Okay.
We'll work our way into it.
We'll tease ourselves before we scare ourselves.
That's right. We'll tease ourselves before we scare ourselves. And then the Blue People of Kentucky. We've got that coming up later in the program. I know that just sounds weird. The blue people of Kentucky, but we'll talk about them as well. It's all coming up. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday along with Parashare right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Right over there is the Beer City Bruiser. Together we're known as the Critter and the Bruiser. Soon to be on a t-shirt near you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited to open that up.
Yeah, we got a t-shirt store all set for you, and we should have t-shirts for you hopefully by next week.
Yeah. When graphics are loaded, whenever they decide to update their site. So we should have a couple different t-shirts and hoodies for you next week. And we're working on more designs as we speak. So we should have some stuff ready for you for the holiday season. Normally now is when you'd hear the dun 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 dun, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to scare you right away. We're going to let you ease your way in. We actually have a fully produced Parashare for you this week. Yeah, which was amazing to hear.
Yeah. So we'll play back for you. This coming from Grim Goblin Jack. He had asked me initially, Bruiser, if I just wanted the story to read or if I wanted a produced version of this. And I said, no, Grim Goblin Jack, you produce it on up for us. So this is it right here. It's called Calling the Poltergeist.
Okay.
All right. So if you're ready, here we go. This is Grim Goblin Jack calling the poltergeist.
Calling the Poltergeist by Emerald A. Behrens. The room felt haunted to me even before those strange events. I remember a feeling of uneasiness and fear. How many children had been in this room before me? "This is your room," the staff member said, and I saw the small flat children's bed decorated with a plain green coverlet. It wasn't unlike the hospital bed I slept in at Langley Porter before I came here to Edgewood, a place for damaged children. At least this bed didn't have restraints. I looked at the wall facing my bed where two plain cabinets stood, painted cheap white for any belongings I would have. I had very few. I thought this place would be temporary for me and that I wouldn't stay long. I didn't know I was going to be stuck at Edgewood for 2 whole years. The bedroom faced the west, and if I squinted I could see the ocean past the fire escape, winking its silvery light back at me. I felt like a prisoner in this institution and wanted so desperately to run to the ocean, but I was scared, trapped in this new place with no way out. How would I escape? I had nowhere to go. I looked at the picture on the wall, the only decoration in the room. A young Amish girl with a white bonnet and dress held a cat. I had no idea who she was or why this picture was in the room. I didn't know the picture was meant to be comforting decoration. At the end of my plain bed was a white trunk, totally empty. Along one wall were built-in closets painted a sickening off-pink hue. All of the walls and trim were painted this awful color. It reminded me of the cement room I was dragged into at Langley Porter, with the same color paint peeling from the walls. At 8 years old, I didn't know what lead paint was, or that it was poisonous. I spent my time in that cement room peeling the paint off the walls because of severe boredom. Children were locked in these rooms, some for hours at a time. In other places, children died in these rooms. Those rooms were called restraining rooms, for the children when they had their fits. Mine lasted a few hours, and my back was a bloody, scabbed-over evidence of my past tantrums with staff people. I was not alone in this new bedroom at Edgewood, but had a roommate. I didn't care for her much, and the feeling was mutual. The girl roommate bullied me until she finally laughed, and I was given another roommate, one who didn't speak except to say, "I don't know." This was a defense mechanism for dealing with the staff. It was her way of saying "F you" to the people who put her in this institution. I had no idea why she was there, as she seemed really quiet most of the time. It wasn't until later I realized she could talk. She was really very smart. No wonder she hated the idiotic counselor in the institution who bullied her. I finally understood why she kept saying, "I don't know." What else could she say in a situation like that? She was a devout Catholic, read ghost stories and lent me her Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine. Pretty soon we were exchanging ghost stories together. She told me the traditional campfire ghost stories, where a babysitter gets a phone call from a man who says he's such and such feet from her house, until he's just a few feet away. Cue terrifying scream at the end. Ah! It scared me, but then again, I had never heard ghost stories from other kids before. I was a lonely child. "Have you ever called Bloody Mary in front of a mirror?" she asked me. I shook my head. I vaguely recalled the alcoholic drink the woman who gave birth to me drank in the mornings. "She'll come to you if you call her name out 3 times, and then you'll see her in the mirror." My roommate whispered excitedly. We were up past our prescribed bedtime, around 10 p.m., so we had to whisper. The staff had stopped patrolling the hallways, but we didn't want to wake the other roommates. In 2 other rooms, the 4 girls were asleep. The boys in Halleck Cottage were on the other side. We crept out of bed, and the old floorboards creaked underneath the moldy carpet. We both went to the shared bathroom and stood in front of the cracked, smeared mirror. Both of us whispered at the same time, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." We waited and stared intently into the mirror. The eyes tend to play tricks on you, especially in the dark, and though there was light from the hallway, it wasn't enough to clear the strange visions that appeared before me. My face was pale and shifted slightly, as if it were made of putty, and the eyes began to sag and melt before my eyes focused on the image of my own face again. The more I stared, the more my face changed until I seemed to get dizzy. Was this supposed to be Bloody Mary? I hadn't actually seen her. My roommate and I quickly went back to our rooms, and I described how my face changed. "That's Bloody Mary," she nodded, but I wasn't convinced. I joked then about the movie Beetlejuice by Tim Burton that we had seen at Edgewood and wondered if it was possible to summon a poltergeist. That's when everything changed, and I realized it wasn't just my roommate playing a trick on me. There was no way she could have done this herself. "Let's do it. Let's call him," my roommate said, referring to the spooky specter. We both said his name 3 times out loud, just like in the movie. Nothing happened. I guess it was just a movie trick after all. My roommate shrugged and we both lay down for bed. I closed my eyes and set myself ready for sleep. But then I heard something. I opened my eyes and looked at my roommate's bed. She hadn't moved. I waited a moment and listened. Nothing. I sighed and was about to pull the covers over my head when I heard it again. It was coming from the wall behind my bed, which separated my room from the other girls' rooms. My room was in the middle of 3 dormitory-style rooms and had the fire escape with stairs that went down to the ground outside. To my knowledge, the windows were locked and no one could come inside. My roommate saw me turn in bed. "What is it?" she asked. "Listen." I pointed to the wall, and then we both heard it. It was very soft, but you couldn't miss it. Nothing else would make that sound. I forget which one of us got up first, but she went to the front of our room and motioned me to the back door connecting our dorms. We both crept very quietly into the adjoining room, but found the other girls asleep. Since their beds faced away from the wall where I heard the knocking noise, there was no way they could have snuck back into bed without making a sound. The floor I walked on creaked with every footstep. My roommate and I both went back to our room. "There's only the closets on the other side of the wall," she pointed, and I nodded. Was someone in the closet? But how could they fit? The closets were roughly the size of a broom closet each, and there was no way an adult staff member could fit in without making a noise, not to mention they would have to be remarkably still the rest of the time. If there had been other kids in those closets, we would have heard them walking through the hallways. Don't poltergeists inhabit closets? We both waited but didn't hear any more knocking sounds. It was probably past 11 p.m. now, and we both decided it was better to get some sleep. Whatever it was, wasn't going to come after us then, and I didn't have the sense of terror I had at other strange times, when I encountered paranormal events, so I wasn't too concerned. I had told my roommate about the strange entity I had seen at the foot of my bed at night, when I had that bad roommate before. The strange shadow entity had sat on my bed and I felt extreme terror to the point where I couldn't breathe. Luckily, the shadow hadn't hurt me, but I did wake up to find my digital clock had been unplugged. That or the lights had gone off during the night. I managed to sleep after. The next night, we tried calling the poltergeist again, and she said his name 3 times. Nothing happened. Not even one single knock. Oh well, maybe he moved on. My roommate was disappointed, as was I. When you're a kid stuck in an institution, there isn't much that holds your interest, but a poltergeist is something different altogether. You hold hope for the strangest things during times you want to escape out of a bad situation. Having a poltergeist next to our room was cool. The fact that we had summoned the entity was even cooler. I suppose this gave us kids a sense of power when we had none. My roommate and I settled down to sleep, but I kept hoping I would hear that knocking again. It never came. We got a shock in the morning. 2 pieces of candy were waiting for us on the trunk next to my roommate's bed, along with a childishly scribbled note that said, "I'm coming back." Well, this was interesting, I thought. To be honest, I was a bit dubious, as I had seen my roommate eating that same brand of candy just a few nights before. I was jealous of her. In the institution, they put us on different levels, each with its own privilege and punishment. I was always on the lowest level because I was a troublemaker and had multiple fights with the staff. My roommate was smart, kept quiet, and as long as she obeyed the rules, got to move up the level until she graduated off that horrible system. She got to go on walks to the store by herself and use her own money to buy candy. I never, ever got to that level. I could never stay out of trouble. Someone would always make me upset and I was back to the bottom again, just like my life now. In those days, I was a troubled child who had been through too much to know how to regulate emotions. It was an unreasonable request, in my opinion. But at least the poltergeist game we had going was entertaining at the time. I didn't know then how far it would go. My roommate and I discussed how we would summon the poltergeist and maybe make requests. Would it bring us more candy? "Prove to us you're real," my roommate fervently whispered. I guess she knew I doubted the spooky specter, and I pointed out the candy had been hers. She denied everything, of course, but I still wanted to believe in this ghostly entity. What would it do next? Then we heard it again. We both got out of bed, but when we very quietly looked in the other room, no one was awake. The closet doors were closed, and there was no way anyone could have gotten in there. My roommate and I tiptoed back, utterly perplexed. "Okay, what else can you do?" my roommate dared the specter. There was no answer. Eventually, we had to get some sleep, and I think it was around midnight by the time we both fell asleep. Another shock in the morning, and something that has perplexed me to this day. My grandmother had given me a number of stuffed animals, which I laid down each night beside my bed, like little guardians keeping watch. After that terrifying incident with the shadow entity at the foot of my bed, I used the stuffed animals like a barrier, so that if anything tried to get me, I would know immediately. A few of the stuffed animals had bells, so if they moved, you could hear. But this morning, I woke up utterly astounded. All of my animals had been moved. Not only that, each one had been lined up meticulously at someone else's bed, in another room, and their animals were now lined up at the side of my bed. How could someone have done this without making a sound? The floors in that place were old and creaked often, and I would have heard if anyone moved my stuffed animals. It couldn't have been a staff member, and it would have taken too long to move each animal, at least 10 or more of them, including the small pocket-sized animals. My roommate was as perplexed as I was. This was the final proof that the poltergeist we had summoned did in fact exist. Now what? I forget now what happened to the poltergeist. I guess it went away on its own. Eventually, my roommate was able to go back with her parents and escape the institution of Edgewood. I wasn't allowed to leave. I would be stuck there another year before I ended up endangering my life. I climbed up a very tall tree and threatened to jump off if any staff member came near. Obviously, I survived this ordeal and didn't die. My grandmother was called and got guardianship of me so that I too finally escaped that awful place. The poltergeist incident was just one of many in that strange place where children's nightmares come to life. I'm sure many other children after me have had similar frightening experiences. I wonder if that strange shadow entity is still haunting children as they try to sleep in a room that's 100 years old and full of terror. There's something in these places that tears reality apart. Maybe it's the total loss of control children face, under the supervision of people who don't always wish them well. Perhaps it's the ghost of past traumas that reawaken with each new body brought in. Bad events have seared themselves into the walls, like undead testimonies of horrors witnessed before. They still scream to get out. Institutions make children easy prey, and not just for the real-life predators in this world. Children may face another darker fear, one they can't escape from even after they wake. I was lucky to survive. I don't know how many other children will.
What do you think about that, Bruiser?
That was pretty creepy.
Following the Poltergeist by Emerald A. Behrens,
Oh.
previously published on The Ghost Attic, produced by Grim Goblin Jack for Darkness Radio Show with Tim Dennis.
Well, and Beer City Bruiser, we can't forget that. Yeah, I stepped on the touchdown call. I'm sorry.
You did.
Yeah, I didn't know there was credits. There you go.
I thought it was an excellent story.
Yeah.
And I think they're absolutely right that places like that could have evil spirits because they're not pleasant places to go to. They're institutions, you know?
That's right. That's right.
And I don't get why they started messing with it. Oh, hey, it's probably like Beetlejuice. Let's say the poltergeist name 3 times. See what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Grim Goblin Jack. Holy cow. Now that's how you do a Parashare.
That was impressive.
Yeah. That I was impressed. And I don't impress easily. So there you go. Sorry we stepped on the end there. I thought that out theme was the out theme, but I didn't realize there were credits.
Well, thank you for the credits, though.
Yeah.
It was very well produced, too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. See? You too can do that, kids. Just saying. And you know what's funny is they did that in. I'm thinking this is probably an audio production person.
It's got to be.
Yeah, because they did it with very little time. Like they hit me up. They hit me up last night and just said I can put it on audio if you want. I was like, sure, if you want. And I'm thinking they're just going to read it off into a microphone and send it. Oh no!
Oh no! We got music. We got dramatic pauses. We got
sound effects.
Beautiful cello music.
Yeah, I'm sure they just whipped out a cello and did that. Excuse me while I whip this out. Just boom, and then we got cello music. So, thank you so much for that. That was awesome.
That was very cool.
Yeah,
very very cool
and very scary. So there you go.
Yes,
there you go.
And whoever read it did a fantastic job with pacing, and because people don't realize it's hard to read audio. You know, I mean, it's hard to read because we generally want to read fast as we go along.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job of keeping an even pace, good pauses in between. As we say in the underwater needlepoint business, she cut a great promo.
Exactly. Cutting a great promo. Exactly. Well, if you want to go from one scare to another, Bruiser, we can do that. I mean,
world's ending. Cat and dog living together.
Exactly. Sam Altman appears to admit the existence of a secret new doomsday AI system that he helped build that could be the leap to artificial general intelligence.
That guy needs a punch in the face. Why would you do anything like with doomsday in the title other than draw a comic book?
Well, true, yeah, but he killed Superman, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. Sam Altman appeared to lead credence to the theory that he was fired from OpenAI over his company's super powerful secret new AI system that he helped build. Multiple employees reportedly warned the company's board of directors that this project named Q, pronounced Q-Star, was becoming so advanced that it could already pass math exams and perform critical thinking tasks. Then they felt that Altman was not taking their warning seriously. In an interview this past week, Altman did not deny the existence of the secret program that some employees said was responsible for his firing. Instead, he called the revelation of Q an unfortunate leak.
So basically, this company created a supervillain.
Yeah. But it wasn't no Lex Luthor.
No.
Instead, he called... I'm sorry, I said that already. Altman was fired, by the way, then hired by OpenAI investor Microsoft, because they really love supervillains over there.
Oh, yeah.
And then rehired by OpenAI, which also gave the boost... which gave the boot to most of the board that cut Altman loose. They said,
"Give us way out." He's like, "I'll show you guys."
They said, "Give us our supervillain back, and you all can take a hike." All over the course of,
like, in order to protect the universe, I need to have him by my side.
That's right. Better to have the enemy we know than the enemy we fear, or something like that. All over the course of just 5 days in November. So, when confronted with questions about Q in an interview with The Verge, he had the opportunity to deny the program even existed. The public learned about the existence of Q in a recent Reuters story, which also shared some concerns raised in the employee's warning letter to the board, but that news story only covered Q and the letter's contents in general terms, as Reuters reporters did not view the letter. With all this uncertainty, Altman was well positioned to deny the existence of Q and dismiss it as a baseless rumor. Instead, he seemed to confirm it. No particular comment on that unfortunate leak, he said. But what we have been saying 2 weeks ago, what we're saying today, what we were saying a year ago, what we were saying earlier on, is that we expect progress in this technology to continue to be rapid, and also that we expect to continue to work very hard to figure out how to make it safe and beneficial.
How about we just leave it alone? Just don't create it.
Right. Well,
Well, it's created. Destroy it.
It's too late. The genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah.
People working in AI have warned that once computer scientists achieve artificial general intelligence, or AGI, it may become more powerful than humans can contend with. They could even view humans as a threat that must be eliminated. Oh, yay! Enlisting internet and computer infrastructures to carry out a doomsday plan. Oh, that's cheery. Such fears align with experts' predictions that one day AI will reach a point known as the singularity, when technology has become more powerful and intelligent than humans can compete with, changing the course of our evolution. Former Google engineer Ray Kurzweil, once predicted that the singularity would arrive by 2045. Seems like we're on a crash course for that to happen sooner than that.
Yeah, the way that it's progressing itself and it's learning. Mm-hmm. I think their math is off. They might want to ask the AI.
Yeah, we probably want to ask them first. In April, more than 25,000 people signed an open letter calling for a 6-month pause in AI research. At the time, Altman said he agreed with calls for caution, but he disagreed with the technical nuance contained in the open letter. He did not sign it, by the way. Reports have claimed that several employees wrote a letter to the OpenAI board before Altman was removed from OpenAI. The letter is said to detail how Altman's company was working on new AI discoveries that were dangerous, and serious risks were involved with commercializing technologies whose potential consequences the company did not firmly grasp. Reuters reported that Q is part of the reason Altman was fired from OpenAI due to this new system's advanced abilities. Sources said Q was already acing math tests, while the latest version of ChatGPT, GPT-4, still struggles with high school exams.
Well, it's already smarter than me if it can do math.
Yeah, it's got me aced, that's for sure. GPT-4 launched in March, giving it time to advance, while Q has yet to be confirmed. Sources also claim Q could use nonlinear methods such as tree of thoughts, Monte Carlo tree search, process supervised reward models, and a learning algorithm. However, OpenAI staff are said to believe that Q could be the breakthrough that enables the development of AGI. OpenAI has defined AGI as AI systems that are generally smarter than humans.
Well, that's not good. That's not good at all.
No.
Why do we want something smarter than us?
To wipe us off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
This week, when asked why he was fired in his interview with The Verge, Altman remained tight-lipped, redirecting questions to OpenAI's board members who were not interviewed. At the time of the publication of the article I'm reading, OpenAI has not responded to DailyMail.com's request for comment. In other words, they're being as tight-lipped as possible because you're onto something.
Oh no, they found out. What do? We ignore it till it goes away.
Oh, Smithers, we're not responding, are we? Meanwhile, your only hope to breathe on Mars could be as a result of a robot chemist creating oxygen needed for colonizing Mars.
Why do we have human chemists doing this?
Because, Bruiser, humans could take a lifetime to complete that same task that an AI robot could do relatively quickly.
The same AI, I just got to point this out week after week. The same AI that when a grocery store let AI make up recipes for us, came up with mustard gas, which is lethal to us.
But it's delicious on a wiener.
So we're going to trust this thing to fill a whole planet up with oxygen that we can breathe.
Evidently. A robot chemist powered by artificial intelligence could solve the puzzle of providing oxygen to humans on Mars, according to the results of a new study. The study, published in Nature Synthesis on my doorstep at 5 a.m. every Thursday morning, found that an AI robot could quickly figure out how to cook up vital oxygen, or virtual oxygen if you don't really want to breathe it, for survival compared to humans who would take a lifetime to complete such a task.
Okay.
That lifetime being about 30 seconds, because you wouldn't breathe for very long up there without oxygen.
No, I'm picturing the old Total Recall Arnold Schwarzenegger scene when he's on the planet. His eyes start bugging out and all that.
Yep. The reason, according to the paper, is there are more than 1 million potential oxygen evolution reaction, or OER, catalysts on Mars, which would give humans too many possibilities to work with when trying to create oxygen. Adding to the problem would be communication with Earth to solve the problems, with transmissions taking as long as 20 minutes to travel between the home planet and Mars. Oh, sure, technicalities. Just saying. Oxygen supply must be the top priority for any human activity on Mars because rocket propellants and life support systems consume substantial amount of oxygen, which cannot be replenished from the Martian atmosphere, the authors wrote in the paper. AI robots could be tasked with oxygen supply without the need for help from humans, bypassing potential problems to humans' ability to survive on the planet. Here's the problem. If you have AGI with you, they may decide that they don't need the humans anymore, and it's more sufficient for the mission to continue without these pesky humans. They cut off your oxygen supply, deciding that their resources are better needed elsewhere, running the mission. Humans are expendable. The end.
Humans are more of a waste than anything.
Right. Why make oxygen when we can get the mission done ourselves?
Exactly. We can do this mission faster without the humans.
That's right. They go on to quote, "Here we demonstrate a robotic artificial intelligence chemist for automated synthesis and intelligent optimization of catalysts for the oxygen evolution reaction from Martian meteorites," the author wrote. The entire process, including Martian ore pretreatment, catalyst synthesis, characterizations, testing, and most importantly, the search for the optimal catalyst formula, is performed without human intervention. The study envisions that instead of the lifetime a human would consume with a trial and error method, AI robots could solve the puzzle within six weeks, Bruiser.
6 weeks, then the human race.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Like you said, it's going to get to the point where, like, we keep producing this oxygen to keep these humans alive. If we just stop doing that, we don't have to waste our time.
Yeah. Within 6 weeks, the AI chemist built a predictive model by learning from nearly 30,000 theoretical data sets and 243 experimental data sets. According to a report in Universe Today, one of those magazines you just can't pass up at the newsstand, can you? Robot chemistry has made continued advances in recent years. In one 2020 experiment, researchers used a mobile robot to improve hydrogen production from water.
Okay.
That same technology could soon find its way to another planet where the researchers believe it will pave the way for human exploration. They also go on to say, our study provides a demonstration that an advanced AI chemist can, without human intervention, synthesize OER catalysts on Mars from local ores. Not the stuff you row a boat with, but, you know.
I love how these scientists don't even think of the bad stuff that could happen.
No.
Like, they don't think that, like you just said, the AGI goes, you know what? We're more efficient without them. Let's change their oxygen into mustard gas or cyanide.
Yeah, let's kill them. Let's kill them all. But, you know. Bruiser, I got to ask you, what's the ugliest fish you've ever caught?
Oh, geez. Probably a catfish.
Catfish?
Yeah.
Catfish, muskie. You ever caught a muskie?
I'm not a big fisherman, so.
Not a big fisherman?
No, the catfish I'm talking about was on a buffet and it was fried.
Oh, well, there you go. My old man, he took us out fishing when we were young. The way he convinced us finally to get us out in the boat was he put a stereo in his boat because we wouldn't sit still.
Okay.
So he would turn on the radio, but very low, because he was convinced we would scare the fish.
Okay.
I was convinced the fish liked the music.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, especially
every time I've gone fishing, I've just gotten too drunk to do anything.
I don't blame you. I think that's the only way to fish is just, get blotto and go sit in the boat. To me, it's one of the most boring activities in the world.
Yeah, that's what me and my buddy did. We just went and drank a bunch of beer.
Yeah.
I think we caught something. I don't remember.
Yeah. I just, you know what they say? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Take a man fishing, and he'll fall asleep. I just don't think there's anything.
Mrs. Bruiser is a big fisherman.
Really?
Yeah, she loves it.
She likes fishing.
She thinks it's relaxing and all that. And good, cool, go ahead.
Yeah, that's each their own, right?
If you wanted me to come with you, then I just have to have enough beer where I can sit in a lawn chair and pass out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I go from, maybe it's because I don't have a big attention span, but I go from actually like watching, like throwing it in for fishing to like, I wonder if I could hook that branch over there. Oh, hey, there's a jogger. Maybe I can hook them, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what can I hook with this hook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I do. I start throwing the hook all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's more fun to me.
Yeah. That's why I want to try fly fishing, because you just sit in the river and just throw your rod all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fly go all over the place.
You start hearing the Indiana Jones theme in your head as you start whipping that thing around. Yeah. That to me is more fun.
I one time though, my great grandfather tried to take my brother and I fishing, and we ended up having lightsaber battles with our fishing poles.
See, now
we were just bored.
See, that's fun. That's fun.
Up there in Red Wing, Minnesota.
Yes, Red Wing, Minnesota, right there in the river. Yep. Well, this fish had a human face, and when it was spotted in a lake, in fact, I'll show you a picture here. I'll give you a sneak preview here, Bruiser, so you don't have. We can cut to the chase here. There you go, my friend.
Oh, wow. That's a terrifying fish.
Isn't it, though? Would you?
If that thing swam up to me, I would literally hand it my pole and walk away. Like, you win. Have
you ever gone out with a fishing whacker, that little billy club?
Yes, I used to have one in the car.
See, there you go. Well, that's not what it's for. But yeah, you just hit it on the head and make it go away.
Yeah, my mother used to make us put it in the car because she was afraid we were going to get carjacked in the little town we grew up in.
Oh, there you go.
Because she watched too much NYPD Blue.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Well, just take your fishing whacker with you and just hit that thing on the schnoz and tell it to go away.
No, I'd really hand the fish that. Like, here, you win. You are a devil. Here you go.
You are the devil. Take this fishing whacker and go away.
It does. It looks like a devil or a female demon.
It does. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. A carp with a creepy human-like face thoroughly freaked people out when a video was uploaded to social media, with one woman saying it had turned into a fairy. Aww. After a dog called Nori went viral, having a face that looked like a human, more like a human than a canine. I don't know that I buy that because I've seen that dog. It doesn't look like a human. And baffled people thought his face had been digitally altered, which was more likely than not. It seemed there was an appetite for strange-looking animals. Another bizarre-looking creature shocked people on the internet, only this one lived in the water instead of on land. A rather unusual fish was spotted in a lake in China, which appeared to have some very odd markings on its face, causing it to look quite human. A visitor to a village outside the city of, I think it's pronounced Kunming, but it looks like coming when you read it fast, in South China, captured a video of the creepy carp, which I showed Bruiser a picture of, and it does look creepy.
And it's creepy.
Yeah.
I would not do anything with that water because there's something in that water.
It's got to be radioactive.
It has to be.
Yeah. Back in 2019, the video was shared on Weibo, which is a Chinese social media platform. And in the clip, the fish can be seen swimming to the edge of the lake and poking its head above the surface of the water. On the fish's head were dark dots, which looked like two eyes, and two vertical lines, which resembled the sides of a nose, and one horizontal one underneath where a mouth would be. During the clip, a woman can be heard saying, "The fish has turned into a fairy." I don't know about that. People were understandably freaked out by the sight. One person commented, "This is scary." Another replied, "Who dares to eat it?"
Oh, I could not eat that.
There's always one guy who wants to put his lips on it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. People who were understandably freaked out by it, also on Twitter, a user called @unexplained was creeped out more than most other people. He said, "Holy shit." Someone else,
which is a natural reaction.
Yeah, I mean, that would be. Someone else wrote, "I am so freaked out right now." Others compared the fish to Voldemort. One said it was an alien and the animated fish from the 2004 film Shark Tale. I've never seen Shark Tale, so I can't.
I have. Will Smith. It's a Will Smith vehicle. It does not look like the fish from Fishtail.
So does the fish go around slapping people?
It sure does.
Yeah. Interesting. This isn't the first time someone has seen a human-like carp. Back in 2010, a 44-year-old British man claimed that a carp that he had bought 5 months before had begun to develop a human-like facial feature.
What do you mean began to develop? Like when you buy it, aren't you? First of all, who's eating carp?
Actually, there's quite a few people that love eating carp.
Really, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I know.
They're bottom feeders.
They are.
They eat the shit.
Yeah.
They eat shit of other fish.
They do. Yeah, I love how you're so adamant about telling us this. But no,
when I was a kid, and I had a buddy who fished a lot, and he'd catch a lot of carp, and he'd get mad. So I asked my dad one time why. He says, "Oh, they're shit eaters. They taste horrible."
A catfish is just an advanced carp, right?
But you can fry it. You can. Oh, catfish is, when done right, so good.
It's just an advanced carp. That's all it is.
They don't eat shit.
They kind of do.
Yeah, but they're still delicious. Carp are not delicious.
Brendan O'Sullivan of Essex said, "It was astonishing. I could easily make out from the markings 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. I thought I was suffering from sunstroke." When he went to buy the carp to eat it, the fish is believed to be worth an estimated 40,000 pounds.
Really?
The human fish, the human carp.
Maybe I will catch that fish then. 40,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's a little bit of money.
Yeah, it is.
When you take the exchange rate into consideration, it's about $26,000. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know my exchange rate. I have no idea.
I just don't want to. That fish is going to get pissed off and form legs and arms and beat me if I go catch it and say I'm going to sell it.
Right? Yeah. I got a ghost story here for you, Bruiser.
Okay, I like ghost stories.
This story is about the terrifying ghost of an old woman who watches a 5-year-old boy learn how to ride his bike from a mansion.
Okay.
Woo, scary kids. I don't know. I just had to add that in there. I thought maybe you'd be more frightened. This is the terrifying moment. A mom captured the ghost of an elderly woman watching her son learning to ride his bike. The spooky pictures were captured by a mom, Louise Lenton, at Oldway Mansion in, I believe this is Paynton, Devon, over in England, which dates back to the 19th century. It shows her 5-year-old boy doing laps around the parking lot at 5 p.m. on a Sunday.
Okay.
But it is what's happening in the window that has sparked the controversy. It is the shape of a woman watching the boy, and she can clearly be seen in the window of the first floor. Normally a skeptic on the paranormal, Louise cannot explain the appearance of the woman, who she describes as wearing period dress. My partner and I had split off, with him going to walk the dogs on the fields, and I took our little boy to the parking lot to practice riding his bike. The car park, as she puts it, is flat and perfect to do it. I was just filming him, and that was it. It wasn't until I was home and in bed watching the film back when I noticed it. I was like, oh my gosh, and my partner could not explain it. Neither of us know what this is. When I was filming it, I did not see it at all. I was too busy filming. I screenshotted it and zoomed in right away. It looks like a lady with hair in a bun with white cuffs around her hands. Louise has even approached Torbay Council about the mystery figure and said only security guards would have been inside the building the day the footage was taken. It's certainly not a security guard from what I can tell. The outfit the woman is wearing appears to have white cuffs and it looks Victorian. She added, I would love to know who or what it is. Let me see if I can zoom in on this picture. This picture that she took, that she screenshotted, is absolutely perfect. And it's quite the full body apparition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, you can see pretty much everything but a face. And it looks like she's wearing a jacket of some sort.
Yeah, it's quite perfect.
That is a very perfect. Yeah, that's a great catch.
Yep. Interesting picture indeed. But yeah, and she's got the white cuffs and everything. In fact, you know what? I'll try to zoom in more on the lady there so you can see her. But here.
Oh, yeah, she's got her hands in front of her.
Yep.
Very Victorian.
Yeah.
It just looks like a grandmother, 19th century grandmother watching over her grandchild. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, just making sure that the little boy's okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is very interesting indeed.
The only thing missing is a cup of tea.
That's right. I have mine in front of me right here. So.
Oh, look at you.
Got to have your tea when you're doing supernatural news, and you have a lot of stuff from England, that's for sure. I'm just hoping the English spirits notice that I've got my tea. That's all. People are like, you teetotaler. Speaking of, we stay in England, where we're going to meet England's youngest paranormal investigator, who's all of 8 years old.
Was he part of this family? There's a family that I think they got a show over there, and their whole family were investigators, and they would move into haunted houses and whatnot.
Maybe if he's part of Afterlife Paranormal.
I think that's the group. I'm not sure.
He's 8 years old. He talks to ghosts through his phone app.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
8-year-old Bobby Horton claims to use a smartphone app to talk to spirits and ghosts, following in the footsteps of other family members investigating the paranormal. I think Bruiser hit this on the head. Bobby Horton claims to be the UK's youngest paranormal investigator. Bobby claims he can chat to ghosts using a mobile app on his phone and follows in the footsteps of his mom and his grandmother and step-granddad, who run a ghost hunting group on Facebook. Bobby's grandmother, Teresa Hughes, is 59 years old. His step-granddad is 58-year-old Charlie Harker, and they both run Afterlife Paranormal. The young lad from Bloxwich in Walsall, which all sounds made up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a real place.
Yeah, it sounds like what's his name? What's his nuts with the wand?
Harry Potter?
Yes, Harry Potter. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name there. All sounds like Harry Potter land, doesn't it?
But a lot of English towns sound made up.
They do. Hopes to continue his family's legacy in their quest for spirits. He even claims to have chatted with his late granddad, 59-year-old Terry Hughes, through the Spirit Talker app. I want everybody to go to their phones right now and see if they can pull up the Spirit Talker app. I don't know. Yeah. Interesting.
I bet you it's just an app that plays a bunch of white noise.
Probably, yeah. Or it probably pulls up a bunch of fake ghosts.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, like I love those early ghost apps. There's a ghost next to you, and you'd hold your phone up and it'd show like the dots or whatever. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Bobby says, I like investigating the paranormal. My favorite part is probably speaking to my granddad. I use the app to do that. My granddad has come through sometimes. Oh, you poor kid. Here's a picture of him and his other grandpa, his step-grandpa laughing in the background as he fools the kid all day long.
I love that he's wearing a Ghostbusters outfit.
Yeah, he's wearing that.
He has gone all out with a Ghostbusters outfit. I love that.
He has.
Good for that kid.
And it says Venkman right there on.
Yep, it's a Venkman outfit.
Yeah, the dead one. No, I'm kidding. Charlie revealed that Bobby has been exploring the paranormal for about 1.5 years, but only does light investigations, as they put it. He is proper into it with ghost gadgets and that, but he's not been on a proper investigation yet. Good.
Yeah, don't take him.
No, he does.
That's if there's anything malicious, they're going to attack him and attach to him. And yeah.
Charlie says he does his own little things. That's good that you have not taken him out.
Yes, at least they're smart like that.
Yeah,
and they're being protective.
Yeah. It looks like Charlie goes on to say, if we're out with him at the pub, he will want to put a ghost box on, and he will call out things like that. He loves it. I wouldn't say he gets freaked out. It is light paranormal, not heavy, He does try, though. He has.
I like how they say we're out at a pub. Like, wait, what?
Well, it's a little different than I suppose like a pub restaurant where they're getting their fish and chips and whatnot.
Well, I know. It's just the way he phrases it, like, we don't let him go on investigations, but man, he watches get shit-faced all the time.
No, not like that, Bruiser. It's not like here in the States where, you walk into a bar and the kid's belly up to the bar and he's, doing shooters or anything. No, I'm sure they're like in a restaurant and he's, he has a little app, according to his step-granddad, that he uses. It comes out with words, basically. It's designed for spirits to manipulate the words and changes them to words that they want to put out. Basically, it's like a novelist. Yeah. Basically, I would say that he is one of the youngest paranormal investigators in the country. I've never known anyone his age that young doing it. Well, come on over to the States. There's a few. Charlie and Teresa have also carried out live investigations at their house. Bad idea. Including a range of equipment, and claim their home is haunted by a sinister spirit called George.
Why?
Didn't we joke about a demon named George a few weeks ago?
We did, and I think we found out where he went.
Yeah. Asked what Bobby's mom, who is Teresa's daughter, makes of paranormal investigations, Charlie said she's not really into it. She likes to think that it's not real, like it's a different category to what Bobby is into. I would say she's a bit on the skeptic side. She's not really a believer. Charlie added, probably when Bobby is older, I can see him joining us on investigations. I will be like his mentor. I'm a professional in this field. Well,
I don't know about being professional, but
yeah, I think a real professional would keep an 8-year-old out of pubs looking for ghosts. I'm just saying.
And don't be screwing with the sinister George.
Yeah, don't be screwing with sinister George at home with the grandkid around. I'm just saying. Let's talk about a creepy ghost town that's out there. Speaking of weird and unusual things, this doesn't necessarily count as supernatural unless you're seeing things in corners. Last week, Bruiser, we talked about an unusual town in Japan where a woman was putting dolls all over the place in this ghost town because it felt lonely. It was more creepy than anything.
I've been to a few ghost towns because in Arizona, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And the thing that I can't get over when you're in this ghost town is there's no electricity, so you don't get any EMF. Because EMF affects your body.
Right.
But you don't get any of that. And the next is no sound.
Yeah.
You can be quiet. There's no sound.
Yeah, which is
no hustle and bustle.
Eerie in itself. We're going to Malaysia, where a handful of people left in a huge ghost city full of creepy abandoned buildings are getting a little creeped themselves. Forest City is the name of the place in Johor, which is on the southern tip of Malaysia, was meant to house tens of thousands of aspirational Chinese families, but it is largely empty years after the project began. Forest City is a sprawling housing complex in Johor, which is on the southern tip of Malaysia. The enormous, recently constructed settlement was meant to house thousands of aspirational families, mostly from China's middle class. Very few ever moved into the swishly furnished flats here, leaving it feeling like an abandoned holiday resort, according to the BBC report. The tower blocks rise up from above empty beaches and slowly rusting playgrounds, while shopping centers sit abandoned, including one where an empty children's train continues to run endlessly around a small track.
Okay, that's creepy.
That is creepy. While official figures are difficult to come by, one estimate suggests that it's just 1% of the dwellings in Forest City that are actually occupied.
Really?
That's it. 1%.
1%. So that's what, 2 families?
If that. Nazmi Hanafaya moved to Forest City a year ago and rented a 1-bedroom flat in a tower block overlooking the sea. After just half a year, the 30-year-old IT engineer couldn't take it anymore.
It's probably lonely as hell.
Well, it's got to be like being in solitary confinement.
Yeah, there's nobody to talk to. There's no noise going on. There's nothing going on. Hey, you get free train rides if you want.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nobody.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah. I managed to escape this place, he told the BBC. I didn't care about my deposit. I didn't care about the money. I just had to get out. I'm getting goosebumps just being back. It's lonely around here. It's just you and your thoughts. He added, to be honest, it's creepy. I had high expectations for this place, but it was just such a bad experience. There's nothing to do here. When the ground was broken at Forest City, the property boom in China was in full flow and developers were borrowing huge sums of money to build. In 2016, China's largest property developer, Country Garden, planned to house close to 1 million people at their flagship Malaysian project. Despite the eco-friendly metropolis, they pitched being far out of reach to the majority of Malaysians. So it was even from away from the majority of Malaysia.
Okay, so it's way out there.
Way out there. 8 years later, only 15% of the entire project has been built. Oh, so it's like a half-built city.
Yeah, that is even more creepy.
It kind of has that feel like it's been blown away by a bomb.
Yeah.
Country Garden told the BBC that it is optimistic the full plan will still be completed.
That is creepy.
The empty apartments, eerie quiet at night. Its location on reclaimed islands far from the nearest major city, which is Johor Bahru, and the tumbling value of apartments there has earned the development the nickname Ghost City. Although it is an extreme example, the development is not unique in the region. In 2021, the Chinese government passed strict measures in a bid to stop a potential property bubble from forming after years of big borrowing. As a result, many firms ran out of cash and could not complete projects. Country Garden has had to abandon 2 projects in Australia earlier this year. Many others have followed suit as they come to terms with new rules around debt and cash flow that significantly limit borrowing. Whether or not projects like Forest City are ever finished, and if good times return to the industry, very much remains to be seen. While the development is on the extreme end of things in terms of size, China and Malaysia are far from alone when it comes to ghost settlements. In Australia, a town was recently evacuated of its final resident years after people began to leave in droves. They didn't go as a result of a bursting property bubble, however, but because of asbestos.
Really?
So asbestos drove an entire town away.
I believe that. Asbestos is bad, but still.
Yeah. 80-year-old Lorraine Thomas was the last to leave Wittenum. At its peak, the town was 800 people strong. Now it is barren, empty, and toxic. A reminder of the deadly asbestos mining industry, which has once attracted those seeking their fortunes from far and wide.
Okay.
Imagine that at one time asbestos, I mean, especially in the 50s and 60s, was a huge industry.
Was the best you can do.
Yeah. Today, signs outside the settlement warn dark tourists to push back against their curiosity and stay away from a town that has claimed many lives. Land ministers John Kerry previously said the government closed the town to stop idiotic tourists and visitors to the area.
Because the asbestos is still there.
Yeah. Who are attracted to the local picturesque landscape and the eerie quiet of a once thriving town. So they just want to see it and see what it's like.
Yeah, but because of the asbestos, nobody wants anybody going there.
And your chances of just, having contact with the area and picking up something that could trigger cancer is amazingly high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the article that I wanted to bring up last week with you, Bruiser. But circumstances. So I brought it back this week because I wanted to get your thoughts on this. We were talking earlier about the new generation and the way they look at things. And I'm glad it came up this week because we're going to combine a little bit of history with the way it's seen by the younger generation.
Okay.
And it has to do with the Kennedy assassination. There is an interesting article I pulled because I wanted to get your perspective on this. The article was in Newsweek, and it had to do with the JFK assassination conspiracy and how it's viewed completely different by Gen Z.
Okay.
And I'll just try
I can
to
see it being viewed differently. I've had discussions with my kids about it, and they're Gen Z.
Well, how do they look at it?
I have my oldest, conspiracy theorist. So she goes along with, she's a big mob conspiracy. Yeah. It was the mob.
Okay.
My son takes it as face value. It was an assassination. It happened.
Okay.
And then my younger daughter, she was back and forth. She has many different. She thinks it was an outside job, but as far as who, she doesn't really point fingers.
Well, interestingly enough, most Generation Z Americans are significantly more likely to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was solely responsible for the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
That's my son, yep.
Than their older compatriots. That according to a new poll conducted exclusively for Newsweek. The Redfield and Wilton Strategies survey found that of those members of Generation Z, defined as those born between 1997 and 2012, old enough to vote, 36% believe one person, Lee Harvey Oswald, was responsible for the assassination of President Kennedy. Another 42% think multiple people were involved in a conspiracy to assassinate President Kennedy, with 21% unsure. Kennedy was shot and killed, of course, on November 22nd of 1963. As his motorcade had made its way through Dallas, Texas. Police arrested Oswald, a former U.S. Marine, for the crime. However, on November 24th, he was also shot by local nightclub owner Jack Ruby while being escorted through the basement of the Dallas police headquarters. Oswald died of his injuries from that shooting. Both the FBI and the Warren Commission, set up by President Johnson to investigate Kennedy's murder, concluded that Oswald acted alone. However, many Americans continue to believe unverified claims that he was killed as part of a wider conspiracy, potentially involving organized crime or even government agencies. In December of 2022, a CIA spokesperson told Newsweek that 95% of the agency's files related to the Kennedy assassination had been released in their entirety.
Okay.
All right. For the U.S. as a whole, the Redfield and Wilton strategies found 50% of eligible voters believe multiple people were involved in the Kennedy assassination versus 28% for just Oswald and 22% who said they didn't know. Notably, those age 55 plus, the majority of whom were alive when the assassination took place, were the most likely to doubt the official narrative. Among this group, 55% believed more than one person was responsible against just 24% who support the official narrative, with the remainder unsure. For the survey, Redfield and Wilton Strategies surveyed 1,500 eligible U.S. voters on October 29th, with the data weighted by a variety of factors, including age, gender, race, region, and educational level. Daniel Jolly is an expert in the psychology of conspiracy theories who teaches at the University of Nottingham in the UK. He told Newsweek that while support for conspiracy theories overall remains stable over time, backing for individual ones tends to drop. Jolly said it certainly can feel like belief in conspiracy theories are more popular than ever. However, with the aid of the internet, we can shine a light on conspiracy theories much more easily. This spotlight may give the impression they are getting more widespread, but conspiracy beliefs on average have remained pretty stable over time. Evidence suggests that as a specific conspiracy theory ages, it often loses rather than gains believers over time, Jolly added. But that generalized belief that powerful groups are secretly plotting is something that does not seem to attract more believers than in previous decades. That seems to be stable. Interesting.
So basically, the new generation doesn't believe in the Illuminati. It's our generation and before us.
Yeah.
I think with something like that, I think it's because when it happened, the country didn't want to believe it. So that's when all the conspiracy theories started. And then you go through the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s, all the movies that are made and the discussion. Here we are now after 9/11. I think the focus gets off Kennedy and goes towards New York. And that's where this new generation is they're not looking at that conspiracy, you know what I mean? The JFK conspiracy. Now it's, okay, what happened on 9/11?
Well, you know what it is? I think it's the people who are involved in the moment are searching for answers, and they're searching everywhere. They're looking for under every nook and cranny. It's the people who are born after the event or the people who are born away from the event who tend to look at it with a more skeptical and focused eye.
And you also got to look at, too, kids, this Generation Z, when they learn it in school, school's not teaching them the conspiracy theory.
No.
School's teaching them, Lee Harvey Oswald did it from the 6th floor of the Book Observatory. JFK died, and an investigation went in. They found it was him. He died by Jack Ruby. That's how school teaches it.
Right.
They don't go out of their way to say, oh, but, you know, and it's not like kids are coming home. Like when my kids come from school, they can't go, hey, Dad, where were you when JFK was shot? Like I could do. You know, I could go to my parents. You can go to your parents. Hey, where were you when JFK was shot?
Yeah.
You know, but our kids can come home. Where were you when 9/11 happened? And I can tell them exactly where I was.
Yep.
Exactly what I was doing. So now the conspiracy theories can come out because now I can talk about it like, oh, well, I've heard this conspiracy. I've heard this. I've heard this. So the talk in the household just shifts.
And they can ask you which one you believe.
Exactly. And I think what will happen eventually is the 9/11 conspiracy theories will die down when the next catastrophic event happens and is a major event in our children's lives. It hasn't happened yet.
You know something, Bruiser? Now we have whole generations that weren't around when 9/11 happened. And these generations are now learning in school.
Yeah.
And this is the generation now that is coming up and is skeptical.
Right.
And they know the official line, if you will, the official line that's being taught in school.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are going to go, wait a minute, this is why I don't believe your conspiracy.
Yeah.
And they take a look at it from an outside skeptical view because they do get the official line and they don't feel the feelings because they weren't there.
That's my youngest. She and my son, because he was only one, I think, when 9/11 happened. My youngest, actually, it happened in September. Yeah, he was just one. My youngest daughter wasn't even born. So when I talked to my youngest daughter, and Mrs. Bruiser and I go over the conspiracy theories, she just kind of rolls her eyes.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, she never felt the emotions, you know?
Yep. That's exactly what it is. Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about the blue-skinned people of Kentucky and the phenomena that causes their unusual appearance.
Are they in the wolves?
You know what? Okay. You want to bring it up, my friend? I am going to end this argument today. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
I have it on my phone. I just need to bring it up. It's in my voice notes.
It's still wrong.
Nope.
It's a little.
You can't dispute this. This is indisputable evidence. I'll tell you where I got it from. And this is why you can't dispute it. And now I just need to find my voice notes, darn it. Okay, I'll tell you how I came across this. So one day I'm driving back down from St. Cloud from my radio shift. And I'm driving along. I'm listening to Casey Kasem's American Top 40.
Okay.
From the 70s. And a writer writes in, Dear Casey, right?
Yeah.
And he says he's from Louisville, Kentucky.
Ooh.
And Casey says, Louisville.
But Casey had the weird accent.
No, my friend. The man with perfect diction, the man with perfect English, the man who told us week to week what was the number one song in the nation, tells us exactly how it is. Week to week, we grew up with indisputable evidence from him every single week of what was the best in the country. Every week.
Yeah.
Tells us exactly how to say what we said, hear what we heard, and I have it here in my phone. Here it is. I'm about to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you. And it says, Louisville.
Ooh.
No. Stop it.
Twice has had the longest span of time between those two appearances in the survey.
Here it comes.
Well, it happens to be the most important single record in the history of rock and roll. Details coming up.
Oh, wait. That.
He didn't say it.
No, wait. I have it in here somewhere.
You're not proving anything.
Wait. Is this? Here it is.
33 with calling occupants of interplanetary craft. Well, now let's answer this letter from Trent Parsons in Louisville, Kentucky.
There it is! Louisville! Let me play it again so you get it. Okay, here it is.
With calling occupants of interplanetary craft. Well, now let's answer this letter from Trent Parsons in Louisville, Kentucky. He wants to know.
Whoa.
I win. It is Louisville and the great and now departed to the beyond. Casey Kasem said, Louisville, Kentucky.
I disagree.
You can't disagree. It's Casey
can.
Kasem. No.
Jim Cornette says Louisville.
He's wrong. It's because he's been hanging out with those mouth breathers down there. Let me play for you one more
He's
time.
from there.
33 with calling occupants of interplanetary craft. Well, now let's answer this letter from Trent Parsons in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
There you go. Louisville. The great Casey Kasem says Louisville. And if he says Louisville, by God and the gospel itself, it's Louisville.
Louisville.
No. You've just had COVID. Your mouth doesn't work right. It's Louisville.
I just hung out with somebody from Louisville.
It's because
They said Louisville.
they don't know how to pronounce it. There was no King Lou.
They're from. I don't even think they know. Nowadays in Louisville, I don't think they know their town's named after King Lou.
Louis, not Lou. There was no King Lou. There was a Lou Grant that was on TV, but there was no King Lou.
I don't know.
It was King Louis.
So back to the blue skin people from Louisville, Kentucky.
No, they were from Kentucky, not Louisville. They were just from Kentucky. They were from Appalachia.
Oh, the mountains.
Yes. Nestled in the heart of Appalachia, not Appalachia, lies a tale as mysterious as it is captivating. The story of the blue-skinned people of Kentucky.
I'm assuming they're coal miners. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm guessing coal miners.
So really, you're going to blow the story all up right now? I don't know that they're coal miners.
I don't know this. I'm just saying.
Okay.
If you're going to ruin Louisville, I'm going to ruin coal miners.
Louis. This phenomenon, centered around the enigmatic Fugate family, has intrigued scientists and storytellers for generations. The distinct, is it azure hue? I don't know. What's a good, is it azure?
Yeah, it's azure. Either azure or azuri. It's blue in Spanish.
Yeah.
Blue.
I didn't say blue-y, did I?
Blue.
A blue-y is what you get from a hooker when you pay $200.
No, I'm just thinking of the Geico commercial where the guy has blue hair and the dad goes, blue hair.
We'll just say the distinct blue hue that marked their skin became a symbol of an extraordinary genetic condition known as, oh my gosh, what is this? Methemoglobinemia? Holy cow. And created a saga that spanned geography, genetics, and the complex interplay of isolation and intermarriage. Oh, we got one of those.
Okay.
Yeah. Living in isolated Appalachia, the Fugates inhabited the region for well over 6 generations. It all started when a French orphan named Martin Fugate, or Fugate, No, that's Spanish. Settled at Troublesome Creek with his red-headed American wife. The pair, who married and settled in the area at around 1820, were both carriers of the recessive gene called methemoglobinemia, which meant 4 of their 7 children were also carriers. Living in the remote Kentucky mountains, the Fugates were rarely able to interact with others, leading them to marry and have children with members of their own bloodline.
Oh, so their family tree just went up.
Yeah, that doesn't fork, that's for sure. I mean, they were forking, but the tree didn't fork, you know what I mean? As they continued reproducing with this limited gene pool, the trait that caused their blue skin continued among their descendants. I don't think there's a coal mine involved here.
Nope, no coal mine at all. The only mine is that of the sister.
That's right. There wasn't a coal mine, but there was a poop tube. They just didn't use it.
There's some Sagittarius ass going on left and right in this family.
Yes, there was. Many generations later, great-great-great-great-grandson was born in a modern hospital near where the family had been living, inheriting the gene.
Didn't they make a movie out of this? Called Deliverance?
I think they did. There was that "you sure got a pretty mouth" thing going on, but nobody used the mouth either. His blue skin baffled doctors when he was born until relatives explained that this was common among family members.
It's okay. My grandma, niece, uncle over there has got it too, so don't you worry.
Stopping the planned blood transfusion that they were going to do. As time went on, the baby's blue hue slowly lessened. Nestled in the picturesque Appalachian Mountains, the Fugates found themselves secluded from the broader world. Of course, there were no broads around. Unless
you
they were
the hills have eyes.
Essentially, unless they was part of the family, there weren't no broads. The isolation wasn't just about physical distance, as it both shaped their way of life and had an impact on the prevalence of their condition. Geography played a pivotal role in the perpetuation of the blue skin trait within the family. I feel icky reading this.
Yeah, this is dirty.
This is dirty. At the time, the region didn't have an abundance of road or railways, meaning it wasn't uncommon for people to never see their neighbors. In a way, the Appalachian Mountains seclusions created a sort of genetic pocket following the combination of genes responsible for methemoglobinemia to persist over generations. At the heart of this story is Ruth Pendergrass, who's a compassionate nurse whose encounter with the Fugate family in the mountains of Kentucky marked the beginning of a remarkable journey. While working around troublesome and Ball Creeks, Pendergrass easily noticed the family's unusual appearance and, intrigued, embarked on a mission to understand the root cause. Recognizing the significance of what she'd stumbled upon, Pendergrass became the link between the Fugates and the medical community. She enlisted the help of hematologist Madison, I believe this is Cowain III, who began a detailed study of their condition, opening doors to a deeper understanding of methemoglobinemia, and settling in motion concerted efforts to raise awareness about the condition. Living with a visible and rare genetic condition meant the blue-skinned Fugates became the subject of curiosity, speculation, and sometimes outright prejudice. Well, you don't want to be prejudiced against blue people, that's for sure.
I was going to say, you should be prejudiced against any color people.
Goddamn Smurfs! Their distinct color or skin color didn't fit the commonly seen skin tones. Rather, it caused them to stand out among all whom they came across.
When they tan, do they become purple?
I'll show you a picture right here. Here's Papa Fugate right here.
Oh, he is a Smurf.
He's Papa Smurf.
He's Papa Smurf.
He's got a white beard and white hair, ladies and gentlemen. Misconceptions about the phenomena fueled stereotypes ranging from heart disease to a lung disorder, which saw them having to contend with the challenge of educating others about the genetic basis of their condition. Discrimination, subtle and overt, became a part of the experience. shaping their interactions with their neighbors and influencing their sense of belonging in the community. In the face of societal scrutiny, the Fugates displayed resilience and strength, and the majority lived to be in their 80s and 90s.
Whoa.
They lived a long time.
Yeah, they did. Well, Smurfs live forever.
They're made out of paleoplastic. Even though they had a genetic disorder and lived long lives, they managed to do so without having any serious illnesses.
Well, that's because they didn't go outside the gene pool to procreate.
So you know what they say, grab a cousin and start that loving.
So it's not like, oh, hey, I'm dating this girl now, but there's schizophrenia within her family. You know, we have a kid. There's a chance the kid gets schizophrenia. This one, no. The only genetic disorder we have is we all look like Smurfs. So let's just bang each other. See how dark blue and blueberry-ish we can get our Smurfs. See if we can get them to look like Veruca Salt from Candy, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
The Fugates' appearance is tied to a rare blood problem known as methemoglobinemia. Hi-oh! I think I nailed it. That's what the relatives all said. The condition messes with how blood carries oxygen, so instead of a regular skin color, the family wound up with a cool shade of blue. Normally, hemoglobin, the protein responsible for carrying oxygen in red blood cells, cycles between states with oxygen binding ferrous iron at its core. With methemoglobinemia, however, an oxidized form of iron, ferric iron, accumulates in the hemoglobin molecule, reducing its ability to efficiently transport oxygen. This results in a decrease of its oxygen carrying capacity, resulting in bluish discoloration of oxygen. The Fugate's unique blue hue, therefore, is a visible manifestation of its internal disruption, shedding light on the intricate interplay between blood chemistry and skin appearance. That being said, the family weren't the only ones to have had a bluish skin color, as seen with Paul Garrison, who took colloidal silver to treat his acid reflux and arthritis. As a result, he too had a purple, almost bluish skin tone.
Because of colloidal silver, huh? I've taken that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that could cause you to turn blue.
It can. So there was an end, evidently, to the blue-skinned people of Kentucky, it says here.
Okay. They married outside the family?
Evidently, they got an invitation.
They found a highway?
They got an invitation to a dance.
No, you know what happened is Tinder.
Yes, Tinder. They got Wi-Fi up there in the Appalachians.
They're like, hey, Smurfette, come on now. Let's go.
You're kind of cute for a blue hue.
We need you to go find the guy. Start looking like California raisins. Let's go. Come on.
Blue chew for the blue hue. We need Blue Chew back, by the way.
We do.
The blue-skinned people of Kentucky have etched their story into the cultural identity of the Appalachian region. Despite facing societal challenges, the Fugates embrace their unique heritage. Their distinctive blue skin has become a lasting symbol woven into the fabric of Appalachia's cultural narrative. As time progressed, so too did medical understanding. The blue skin phenomenon within the family gradually diminished, and advances in medical knowledge allowed for better management of methemoglobinemia.
Leading, throwing that word everywhere at you.
Yeah, that's the word of the day. Methemoglobinemia. Ha! Leading to a decrease in the visibility of the condition in subsequent generations. So it's gone now, but at one time there were the blue-skinned people of Kentucky.
You think they're big fans of the Blue Man Group?
I think they're copyright infringement people. They're like pretenders. It's time now for us folks to review Ziggy's picks for the week.
Yeah, I did horrible because I was so sick.
That's all right. We all have our off
Ziggy's
weeks.
Turning it around.
Just a review for you guys what exactly Ziggy's picks are. As you know, there are many psychic animals out there picking the FIFA World Cup results and other sporting events. We figured if animals were psychic, well, our own Ziggy Star Pup and her sister Talia may have the gift as well. So what we do every week is we take the NFL schedule, we break it down, the pups against the humans, because we got to decide, is it knowledge or is it psychic gifts? Which one prevails? So Bruiser and I make our picks. Talia and Ziggy make their picks, and we decide who comes out the best. We have overall records as well. You go to darknessradioshow.com, click on Ziggy's picks. You can see the full rundown of who did what per week. So with that...
And during this week, when Mrs. Bruiser did it this time with them because I was so out of it, but when she handed it to me to send over to you... Mm-hmm. There's a couple picks. I look at the dogs. I'm like, you guys are nuts. And it turns out they were right.
They were dead on. Yeah. Ziggy this week went 8-5.
Yeah. Amazing.
And to top that, Talia went 9-4.
Yeah. And the game that I was looking forward to was the Packers Chiefs, because those are my two teams. Mm-hmm. And I could have sworn, because the Chiefs were favored. Chiefs are all going, Packers young team. And it literally came down to the final minute of the game, and the Packers won. And I looked at Talia and said, how? How?
And you know what? I might have mistakenly nicked Ziggy for a loss that she didn't have. Hold on a second here. I think she actually went 9-4 as well. I think I marked her for a loss, and she got a win on that Packers one.
Okay.
Oh, no. She lost that one. She picked Chiefs.
Yeah, she picked the Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, she was 8-5. I was surprised. Talia picked the Packers and picked the Cardinals.
The Cardinals was the other one. I'm like, there's no way. The Cardinals are terrible this year.
Yeah, they're terrible. But they beat the Steelers.
Yeah, they blew them out.
Yeah. So yeah, Talia is back on the horse, and so is Ziggy. Bruiser still went 7-6 this week, even in a COVID haze.
Do terrible, but
still, you take that to you're more than even money in Vegas.
I went against my gut too because I wanted the Niners and the Niners Eagles. My gut was telling me Niners, but Mrs. Bruiser's on a huge Fly Eagles Fly thing, and she's in love with Kelsey and you know what I mean. Like so that's all I heard, and I'm like, man, my gut says Niners.
The Niners have been the hottest team. In the NFC in the last month. You don't go against the Niners, especially since they're completely healthy.
Yeah, and they had a bye week last week.
Yep. And they're completely healthy. I knew they were going to walk into Philly and stomp all over them. Sorry, Eagles fans. I got a lot of friends who are Eagles fans, but that game was a gotcha game.
That game right there is the NFC Championship game.
Yep, it certainly is.
Those two are going to play again. They'll be the NFC Champ. And there's nothing against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are good right now. The Cowboys are going to lose to Philadelphia.
Yep, certainly are.
And it's going to come down to something, because whoever, I think it was, they were talking about, I forget what game it was, but whoever, I believe it was the Buccaneers or the Falcons, whoever wins that division, they played the Cowboys first round.
Yeah.
So Cowboys instant win, but then the Cowboys are going to play the Eagles again. Eagles beat them, comes down to Eagles-Niners. Yep. That's your NFC Championship game.
That is. And I think you're going to see your potential Super Bowl coming up in the second to the last week of the season, 49ers and Ravens.
Yeah, I agree. I want the Chiefs, but the Ravens are unstoppable right now. They're hitting on all cylinders. They lost their top tight end with Mark Andrews, and I'm like, okay, that's going to hurt them. Didn't hurt them at all.
No.
Didn't hurt them at all.
The Dolphins may potentially be spoilers, but I don't know. But the Ravens,
I think that'll be your AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Because I think with Trevor Lawrence going down, the Jaguars are out.
Yeah.
The Bengals are done because of the Joe Burrow situation.
Yeah, and now Trevor Lawrence last night.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence gone down.
If he doesn't get it together and get it together soon, they say it's only a sprained ankle.
Really? I heard Achilles.
Did you? The latest,
but this was last night. So
no.
If you heard today that it's the sprained ankle,
sprained ankle according to an MRI, and in fact, I'll pull it up right here, right now.
Did you see the play?
I didn't see the play. I know it was wrong, but
it's bad.
But they're saying it may be multiple weeks. So
it's bad.
Yeah. Says here the Vikings won't decide their starting quarterback till Wednesday. They're a team that's in a world of hurt. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think Green Bay ends up taking theirs.
I think Green Bay knocked them out. Yep. I think with the Green Bay win on Sunday, that's it. The Vikings their season's done.
Yeah. If they continue to go with Dobbs, they're done.
But I still think Detroit beats the Packers in the playoffs.
Oh, Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's going a long way. Yeah, even though they're just stumbling a little bit right now, but they're
beat up.
They're fine.
Yeah.
It says here the story I have here on Trevor Lawrence is that he has a high ankle sprain.
Okay.
So that's
what Mahomes had at the end of the season last year, and he played through it and won a Super Bowl. So
yeah,
but I think the Jaguars are done without Lawrence.
I still think you're going to see Beathard next week, though.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think he plays. Yeah.
No. Which is going to be problems for Jacksonville. That's for sure. Because he did not look good. The end of last night. They should have easily won that game, and they didn't.
Nope. Especially with Burrow down. Yeah. With Burrow gone, because Burrow's the heart and soul of that Cincinnati team.
Although Browning didn't look bad, but he didn't.
But I'm just saying, as far as morale in the locker room and leadership in situations where you need that leader to come out.
Yeah. Your boy here went 10-3.
Attaboy.
No,
look at you.
See, it helps to have gangsters in Vegas. I mean, So next week is going to be an interesting week as well. So the injury bug is biting a lot of different teams around the league. The pups are on the rise. So we'll see here. Now, interestingly enough, Ziggy added 3 percentage points to her pick. So she's at a 565 percentage.
Nice.
Talia came way up, added like 12 percentage points to her pick percentage. She's back at a 550 pick percentage. Bruiser's at a 592 pick percentage. I'm at a 628 pick percentage.
That 10-3 helped you out, yeah.
Yeah, it did. That 10-3 really boosted me. So as far as numbers, Ziggy is at 108-83. Talia's at 105-86. Bruiser's at 113-78. I'm at a 120-71. So there you go.
What was Talia at? I was writing them down from
Talia is at 105-86. She had a couple of bad weeks where it really dinged her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
still, that's not bad.
Nope.
It's technically a winning season.
That's a big winning season.
Yeah, if this was baseball,
yeah.
you know. Or hockey.
So, if you want to follow along in complete detail and break it down game by game of what the pups picked, and you can follow along every single week by going to darknessradioshow.com, clicking on the Ziggy's Picks tab, and you can get all of our picks. That's how you can do it. Let's continue on. Only a couple more stories here left in today's program, Bruiser. We got to continue with animals.
Okay.
Because we're on that kick now. So we've talked psychic animals. Let's talk about extinct animals that could suddenly be brought back to life. We got to thank Kariaki, who sent the story in.
Really?
Yeah.
Like some Jurassic Park stuff going on, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Woolly mammoths haven't been seen for 4,000 years, but if scientists are successful, they could be walking around Alaska in just 5 years.
Well, I believe it was a few months ago. Maybe it was last year. We had the woolly mammoth burger story where they recreated the meat of the woolly mammoth. So you'd think the next step is the actual woolly mammoth. The actual woolly mammoth. Colossal Biosciences researchers in Texas who study ancient DNA have found a 99.6% match between the woolly mammoth and the Asian elephant. It makes the species an ideal candidate for surrogacy. And researchers plan to transfer a woolly mammoth embryo to an Asian elephant in 2026. This will be interesting to see where this goes. Yep. If all goes according to plan, after a 22-month gestation period, the first woolly mammoth in millennia will be born in 2028. So 2-year gestation period. Wow. Yeah. Once the woolly mammoth calves are born, they will be transported to their habitat in the Arctic Circle, starting with Alaska and Canada. The only thing I'm concerned about is we don't for sure know their diet. We for sure don't know how they're going to react to the new diseases that are out there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to create, I hope they don't create something just for it to get sick and pass again. Or how does it affect the human race? What if they have something that's been dead for years? Because we did the story again with glaciers having all those old bacteria and viruses from prehistoric times. What if the woolly mammoth has...
Anyone who's seen the Jurassic Park films might believe that extinct species are better off left buried, but Colossal Biosciences CEO and co-founder Ben Lamb says that his company's work is drastically different than that of InGen in the movies mentioned above. Jurassic Park is a dystopian movie around not thinking about the unintended consequences of bringing back these species, Lamb told Newsweek. Lamb and his team build out calculated plans for each extinct species they hope to bring back, including how they'll survive in their natural habitat and when to release them into the wild. But there are plenty of animals that Colossal Biosciences won't bother reinstating because they could cause other species to become extinct. Part of the reasons as to why the dodo went extinct, it was not because they were stupid or because people like to eat them, but it was because of the introduction of invasive species in their egg-laying ground. That's why dodos went away.
Okay, so we're going to have to prevent that if we get to clone them again.
Yeah. One species Lamb has no plans on bringing back from extinction is the Christmas Island rat, given its invasive tendencies. Experts believe that's good. Experts believe that the modern extinction rate as much as 10,000 times higher than the natural extinction rate, also known as the rate of extinction that would occur if humans didn't exist, according to the World Wildlife Fund, making for a dim outlook on the future of life. It's impossible to determine the exact number of extinctions occurring each year, given that researchers don't know how many species exist on the planet, as there are countless undiscovered species living in rainforests or beneath the ocean's depths. However, it says here WWF estimates, not Vince McMahon's organization, but the other one, the Panda People, estimate that from 200 to 2,000 extinctions occur every year if there are 2 million different species on the planet. Now, Colossal Sciences has poured years of research and millions of dollars into the projects, and Lamb said the woolly mammoth work is well on its way. However, scientists must study more than DNA to ensure the species' success. The company has partnered with several elephant conservation organizations for the project. It also studies animal husbandry and ensuring that the modern woolly mammoth wouldn't be susceptible to viruses that have killed its ancestors and relatives. So they've already taken what you're saying into consideration.
Okay, good. I don't want them to go all willy-nilly like Jurassic Park did.
Yeah, no, they've already taken that into consideration. They also are thinking about habitats. The first generation of mammoths would live in expansive habitats managed and monitored by animal care teams. So they've already taken all that into consideration as well.
And I hope they don't, like, I'm glad they're not doing the rat thing. And, like, we don't need a saber-toothed tiger. We don't need a velociraptor. You know what I mean? Like, the furry ones are fine. The furry, nice, good ones are fine.
That's right. That's right. Let's talk about humans that want to live a long time. This particular woman evidently has lived a long time on an unusual diet.
Let me guess, Coors Light.
You're not even close.
There was a lady that they just interviewed here in North Carolina who reached 99 or 100 or something. And they asked her what the secret was. And she said she drinks a Coors Light every single day.
Really? There's one woman in China, I almost pulled the story, who has lived on, for the last 50 years, nothing but soda pop and water.
Okay.
Which is bizarre. This woman celebrating her 115th birthday, and she says the secret is eating a lot of beans. I'm guessing perfume has no use with her.
So whatsoever. That smell of death isn't her dying. It's just her being gassy.
Yeah, it's just a lot of gas. Helena Pereira dos Santos recently turned 115 and has claimed the secret to living a long life is all down to her diet, which consists of a lot of beans. Helena Pereira dos Santos celebrated her milestone birthday with her family, including her 15 great-grandchildren, and has claimed her bean-rich diet is the one thing that has kept her strong and healthy for over 11 decades. The woman was born in 1908, meaning she was 4 years old when the Titanic sunk and was 6 years old when World War I started. Alongside beans, Helena also said that sleeping well, exercising regularly, and joy were important factors in her long life. And according to her family, the woman still remains active, lucid, and independent despite her advanced years. In fact, Helena from Rios das Pedras, northwest of Sao Paulo, Brazil, often goes shopping at the market with her granddaughter and loves going for regular walks to stay active. She has to because she's powered by gas. The woman also makes a yearly pilgrimage of a staggering 170 miles to the national sanctuary of Aparecida, which is the world's largest cathedral in Aparecida, Brazil. That's a long trip.
That is a very long trip.
Yeah. She was born on a farm in Nova Atararana and worked as a midwife and seamstress before retiring. But according to her granddaughter, Adriana, still mends clothes and remains a dab hand at making rag dolls. Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Helena married her husband, who passed away in 2004 at the age of 103.
Did you hear his famous last words?
No, what was that?
Someone light a match.
My country for a Febreze. She married him when she was 26 years old.
I'm glad they got a long life together.
Yeah, absolutely. The couple had 6 children, 10 grandchildren, 15 great-grandchildren together. Unfortunately, most of her children have since passed away.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
No parent should outlive a child.
No. But Helena remains close to her grandkids and her great-grandkids. When interviewed in 2020, Helena said the only medicine she was taking was for her high blood pressure, and she also recalled how a spiritual psychiatrist once told her she would last more than 100 years. The healer allegedly said, "Ma'am, you can keep working peacefully. You will last more than 100 years." According to the Guinness World Records, Helena is not the oldest living person, but she isn't far behind, as that title goes to Spain's Maria Brañas Morera, who turned 116 on March 4th.
Wow. That's insane.
That's kind of cool. Would you want to live to be 115?
No.
No?
Nope.
I'd take it.
Would you?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
There's something about this crazy life I enjoy.
I mean, I enjoy my life. I do not want to go anywhere. I just don't want to live that long.
Yeah? I would.
Too much loss.
Too much loss? Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. She outlived her husband. She outlived some of her kids. That's a lot of loss.
I don't know. There's something about getting to know people and getting to interact with people that I enjoy, that I would I don't know. I would enjoy it. There's something about it. Yeah.
I wouldn't. Nope.
No? Okay. And finally, Bruiser, you and I love a good joke.
We sure do.
Sometimes those jokes can go horribly, horribly awry.
Yes, they can.
And sometimes...
Our listeners can tell us that.
Oh, yes. But sometimes those jokes, when they go horribly, horribly awry, sometimes can be really, really funny.
Okay.
This one happened when... By the way, what was the funniest thing funniest joke you ever played on your children?
Oh. I don't even know. I've done so much to them.
You ever dressed up in costume for your children and scared them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Well, it was a holiday joke played on the children that I think went bad on the Grinch.
My cousin that passed away used to dress up as Santa every year for the kids.
Yeah. And
one year he came in and my son's back was to him. And he came in, ho, 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 and all the kids are freaking out. Yeah, my son turns around, doesn't know, just freaks out, sees a guy standing literally right behind him and kicked him in the nuts and ran away. Because he was scared, he wasn't, and then he realized what he did, and then he came back apologizing and I don't want to be on the naughty list and this, and instantly was like, oh, I effed up. So
you kicked Santa in the Christmas sack.
Yep. So when we made the Santa letter that year, we said, Thanks for leaving out the milk and cookies. I also took some ice from the freezer for my nuts.
That's classic.
Yeah. It made for a good story for the family, but yeah, his face was just when he realized it was Santa, and you know what I mean? Because his instinct was fight, you know, which is great.
Right.
Fight or flight. He fought.
Yeah.
But then his face, when he saw the hat and the beard, and oh no.
That's classic. Well, these children screamed in horror as the Grinch burst into their home and destroyed the tree. But it wasn't all.
I don't get why people would do that. Like, well, I've seen a lot of Grinches lately.
Yeah.
And Grinch is he's not a good guy. He's a bad guy.
And it didn't happen on purpose. Well, let me explain what happened. A family's gone viral after a clip was posted online of children being left screaming in horror as the Grinch burst into their home and unfortunately completely destroyed the Christmas tree. Carla Swan posted a video on Facebook that showed a person dressed as a Grinch in a Grinch costume, complete with green trousers, a mask, and a Santa hat, bursting through their front door and making a beeline for the Christmas tree. However, the Grinch went jumping onto the decoration and knocked it onto the ground. In the commotion, one of Carla's children runs out of the room screaming, while another can be heard crying in the background alongside a dog barking. And Carla's son can be seen hitting the mystery assailant in an attempt to defend his household.
I would too.
There's the fight or flight.
Yeah.
But all is not as it seems, as the family isn't really in any danger, as the Grinch is actually just the children's aunt and Carla's sister, Charmaine. Alongside her Facebook video, Carla wrote, "What an absolute laugh," as she shared the prank she had played on her unsuspecting children. And people couldn't get enough of the hilarious video, which has been shared 25,000 times on Facebook, but has even become more popular on X, formerly known as Twitter, where more than 1 million people have watched it. Commenters were quick to brand the video hilarious, and some say they can't stop watching the 30-second clip as they ask how much Charmaine would charge to inflict the same chaos on their homes. After the clip went viral, Carla updated everyone to let them know the kids were not traumatized by the ordeal, as they were soon told afterwards that the prank that happened, that the Grinch was actually their aunt, and that they soon got over the shock. Carla told Glasgow Live, "It was my sister. They didn't know until after the video ended when she revealed herself to them that they thought it was absolutely hilarious." I got to show you a picture of Charmaine on top of the tree so you actually get an idea of what she looks like, because it's absolutely insane. Here's a picture of the Grinch and then the kids afterwards, so you know that they weren't.
Nice.
She's just launched into the tree. She runs in and jumps into the tree.
She was that's a mosh pit scene right there.
It is. But I know people may be thinking, well, what an asshole to hire your sister to come run in a Grinch costume and fling yourself at the tree. I don't know. Sometimes you just need a good scare.
I think it's great. Bravo.
Yeah.
Nobody got hurt. They told the kids afterwards, everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, and, you know, I mean, some people take their kid to go see Krampus. I mean, you know, just to shape them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this one was just the Grinch coming in and destroying the tree. You know, it's just a little something to rile them up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, get them going.
You know?
And it was the Grinch. It wasn't Santa.
Yeah, it wasn't Santa. It was the Grinch. So, you know, I think, you know, the whole idea of the Grinch is that, you know, at the end of the story, well, the Grinch's heart grows 3 sizes too big and he's all lovey and cuddly at the end. No, give him the Grinch before. The Grinch that goes down to Whoville and takes all the presents.
And that's what this Grinch is doing. Grinch is destroying stuff, which is what a Grinch would do.
That's right. So bring the scariness.
Before he got heart disease.
That's right. Before he got heart disease, before he got a swollen heart. So yeah, give him the scary part of the Grinch. That's what I think.
I agree.
Yeah. There's not enough scariness in Christmas anymore. So.
And there should be. There's ghost stories everywhere. Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Krampus.
Give them the scary side of Christmas this year. Let the kids scream a little bit before they get their gifts.
Agreed.
That's what I say. Tomorrow on the big program, we're going to talk to Pat O'Connor. And you may say, Tim, who's Pat O'Connor? Wasn't that the guy
He's
who...
the second or third NWA champion. Invented the O'Connor roll.
Yeah, he did.
Hell of a drop kick out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, he was what number NWA champion?
I want to say second or third, but I don't believe that's right.
No,
I think he beat Hackenschmidt.
It's not Pat O'Connor. It's Pat O'Connell. Pat O'Connell.
I heard O'Connor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It's not Pat O'Connor. It's Pat O'Connell. Pat O'Connell is totally different. Pat O'Connell, actually, we're going to be talking aliens tomorrow.
Ooh.
Pat O'Connell.
Even better than roll-ups.
That's right. Even better than roll-ups and pins. Pat O'Connell has a true story with a twist so shocking you'll never see it coming.
He married the alien.
No, she.
She. It's a she. Oh, it's a she. Okay, well, I digress. I'm sorry.
Yep. For 3 years, Texas aircraft repair shop owner Clay Wheeler witnessed an array of paranormal phenomena at Sparks County Airport that made the events at Utah's Skinwalker Ranch pale by comparison, including UFOs, aliens, poltergeist, demonic possession, and plain old murder. Now a team is forming to finish the investigation and find out what, if any, evidence is really buried out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're getting into it tomorrow, buddy.
I love it.
We won't tell you what happened to Clay.
Oh, I'll wait for the interview.
But we will talk to Pat O'Connor. Pat O'Connell tomorrow. So you got me doing it now.
Well, it's supernatural. We could get out a Ouija board if you want to talk to Pat O'Connor.
We can. We can find out what happened to Pat O'Connor and why there weren't more NWA championships there. But Pat O'Connell tomorrow on the show. And we will find out what happened to this area that may even trump the Skinwalker Ranch.
That's awesome.
So that's on tomorrow's show. On the big program, right here on Darkness Radio. What you got going on, Bruiser?
I am wrestling on Sunday at Winston-Salem at the AML Training Center. There's a show being put on. It's called Tag Team Turmoil, and I will be there. Went back to the WrestleCade weekend, which was 2 weekends ago. Had a great return, and I got the bug back. Plus, I got to make money. So
there you go.
Doing the. I think I'm in a tag match. I might be in a singles. I don't know. I'm doing something.
You also have something akin to some war games coming up in January.
In January, yeah, but that hasn't been announced yet. So.
I'll edit it out of the show.
The show's been announced, but the teams haven't been announced. I will be on the show, yes. I will be on War Games, which is in January 20th. I don't know what I'm doing yet. The teams haven't been announced. Just one captain's been announced. But AMLwrestling.com for all that, or AMLwrestling.com/training if you want to come train with me. I got a lot of flowers, I guess you could say, from legendary trainers like Dr. Tom, Trevor Murdoch, Billy Corgan, because a couple of my students did a tryout. They fell in love with them. They got dates with the NWA. I said, hey, who trained you? They said me, and sent the flowers over to me, and I loved it. So,
nice. We'll also put your upcoming dates up in the events section of darknessradioshow.com as well, so people can come on out and see you live and in person. Also, if you're not able to see Bruiser live and in person, you can watch him live on Title Match Network, or you can go back and watch the replays on Title Match Network as well.
Yep. All the AML shows. The show on Sunday, I don't think it's on Title Match. Pay attention to my social medias. I'll let you know if it is or not.
Okay. So,
because it's not an AML show on Sunday. They're just renting the school.
Oh, they're just renting the school. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually one of my students putting the show on.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
But all the regular AML wrestling shows that Bruiser's involved with, you can watch on Title Match Network. So,
and I highly recommend going back and watching the WrestleCade Super Show. If you're even just a little bit of a wrestling fan, everybody knows who the Hardy Boys are. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time in years they tagged together in North Carolina. And the pop that the crowd gave, we had to take our audio headsets off because it was so loud. They were maxing out everything in front of 10,000 people. So I highly recommend going to watch it. It was amazing.
That's pretty incredible. So yeah, Title Match Network, and we have the link in the event section there for you to get to Title Match Network. You can subscribe to Title Match Network. It's pretty nominal per month.
Yeah, and they got a lot more than just AML on there. It's great. Tully does a great job with that service. So
yeah, I'm subscribed to Title Match Network. So and lots of good stuff on there, not just AML. So click on it, get yourself a subscription, and check out AML. Lots of good stuff in AML. So there you go. That'll do it for today, folks. I'm up at KNSI this weekend, so if you want to tune in between 7 and 9 a.m. Central Time, you can do so and listen to me babble about something other than paranormal. I'll give you news, sports, weather, all that other stuff. So,
all right.
There you go. Real quick before we go today, I know those of you who keep up with different celebrity news may be interested in this, especially music and rock news, but I guess as we were on the show today, let me see if I can pull this up here real quick. As we were talking, Bruiser and I back and forth, the Moody Blues and Wings musician Denny Lane died at age 79.
Oh, that's too bad. I like both those bands.
Yeah, he's the lead singer of the Moody Blues, and he was a guitarist with Sir Paul McCartney's group Wings. And he died at age 79. His wife Elizabeth Haynes said on Tuesday that he had died following a long battle with lung disease. So if you can keep Denny Lane's family in your prayers and thoughts, please continue to do so. We'd appreciate it. It's sad that a lot of the people that we grew up listening to are passing away. But we continue to keep them immortalized in their music and in their art, and we continue to appreciate them. But Denny Lane has passed away at the age of 79. So join us tomorrow. Pat O'Connell on the show. We'll be talking all kinds of things strange and unusual. High strangeness out there in Utah, in Sparks County. We do that tomorrow on the best in paranormal podcasting. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for listening to Darkness Radio.